this how they talk in Ireland?
This tunnel is haunted. Do you hear that?
Tyler!
Thailand?
This is it.
One more try. This is your last
More try.
Smack him off.
I didn't touch him. Behind you, I saw guys crying. When you behind you, I go out on you. You're not listening.
What?
Imagine spitting in this kind of atmosphere. You go really far. Yeah, like hocking a dookie.
Oh my god, he was Hawk 2-ing before it was Hawk 2-ing.
Not spitting hawk in a dookie.
Is that what it's called?
Hawk in a loogie.
It's
Hawk in a
gooey as
loogie.
shit.
Oh, hocking it.
I wonder if Noga's ever said that in like a real life scenario.
I'm gonna say this to Nola next time I see him. I play games with him tomorrow. I'm gonna bring it up.
I hawked a dookie over there.
He's at the dentist.
I'm hawking
Oh, I
a
just hawked a dookie in your sink.
You know what? That reminds me. that reminds me. That reminds me of that South Park episode. You remember when everyone was throwing up poop? Y'all remember? Do you guys remember that?
Hocking a loogie, is it?
Loogie.
Loogie. Is that not common knowledge?
The plot is, alright, that we went on Dahi the planet, the new Earth. And it's
The new Earth. Oh, no.
but it's also like the moon. So, but when we came here, there was zombies, and we got to get rid of them before everyone else comes along.
Oh my
And they get
god.
dookied on.
Yeah, and then
You hot
we
dookie
tried to
dookie
plan with a
on
big
him.
hawk dookie.
Hawk dookie. Oh my god.
Oh man, that guy came up like MJ.
What?
I'm just buying a house so I can get cats.
Noga's got his fucking priorities in check, man. I'm gonna get a house so I can have cats.
I kind of love that.
Ouch, Charlie.
Nogla, if you see this, did you ever get a cat? You know how like they say you have to take care of like a plant and then a dog, or no, a plant and then a cat and then a dog and then a kid. Maybe God was like, you know what, you did a pretty good job with this plant. We're gonna skip the cat and dog part, and then he just went to a kid. He just was like, 1, 2, skip a few. I'm gonna have a kid.
Boy, about now, I was too busy fingering you then.
What? Fingering your nan?
Jesus.
Or fish and chip, if you know what I mean. We do it for the fans, guys. Remember, we do YouTube for the fans.
Yeah, but we don't even know how to do the power without that fucking glitch.
Yeah, I didn't really hear. Okay.
I think he just gave up. Like sometimes during this,
Oh, no,
I think he misspeaks because he just
Anywho.
gives up. He's just like, I'm gonna talk. Oh wait, I give up.
Plot bags, pick me up. I'm gonna die, you know.
It's round one. Relax.
I'm gonna die, you know.
It doesn't matter.
He sounds
lose
way more
stuff.
Irish back then.
Going.
Sound effects.
I'm gonna
Oh my
make you look like
God.
stupid guys.
Good one. Nailed it.
Where did you go, yellow
Was that
crate?
Scotty?
Is this you? Is this you? Are you this yellow crate? You this crate? Are you this crate?
Why do you sound like the mental disability
Are
died?
you this crate?
Because he does.
Is this you have a reaction to our reaction to that reaction of our reacting? Only trees I can look at, man. Oh,
Oof.
what the what?
Listen up, boys. This town is infested with zombies. We gotta kill them. We gotta clean them out and get to the safe house. All right, boys? You got me, Lobster?
Mm-hmm.
Just the blankest expression on his face. Have you heard a single thing that I've said, sir?
Yes, sir.
Oh my
Alright,
god.
Nogla, I got a sniper rifle. Can I join your clan?
Yeah, you can join my clan. Look at this shit, man. I'm Mortrum. I'm burned.
Montrum.
Oh, my ass is sore. Balls are sweaty.
He's weak.
The story continues from the previous chapters. You are your fishing. You are your fishing buddies. Oh, fuck yeah! I read that one wrong. The scientist said the current subjects are inquiring
together like a gummy worm.
Gummy
Oh,
worm.
you never seen that?
Never seen that.
A
I've
gummy
never
worm
seen. I've
slither?
never
No.
seen a moving gummy worm. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Nogla. Never seen that. You ever seen that? Explain that.
You know what? Maybe Nogla is misspeaking. I don't know his like where I know he's Irish, right? So maybe like it was late at night because I'm sure the rest of the guys are from America. Terrorizer, he's Irelandish. Irelandish. Oh my god, I'm having a stroke. Irelandish. What the fuck is it called? Irish. There we go. He's Irish. So maybe it was like late at night or something. I know when I'm tired, I misspeak. Obviously, maybe that was a thing. Maybe Nogla was misspeaking because he's Irish. Irish. Why am I having a stroke? This from Red Bear Workshop said watch old Big Jiggly Panda videos. The only reason why I know who Big Jiggly Panda is because he reacted to me. I had a lot of people put this little thing in my Discord. Him and Scotty reacted to my wheeze, which I know. We know that's true. I don't have a funny laugh. I never wheeze. I'm totally normal. So here we go.
What is that?
Oh, it's probably pasta. That's probably pasta.
Holy shit, is she okay? She needs medical attention?
That's what she always sounds like. So,
That doesn't answer the
so the
question.
answer is yes.
Does she need medical attention? Pasta, if you're watching this, which you're not, have you consulted a specialist?
I have went to the doctor about this a lot. It doesn't hurt.
Okay, okay.
Just the end of that clip. If you were to sit on a leather seat wearing a leather pants, imagine this is what it would sound like. I was gonna get through a whole session with her because I would pass out from laughing too much.
You would trigger each other for sure.
Eat your own meat, man.
100%. This game hates freedom.
It's chilled. I know these guys.
Jiggly, don't do this to me. I've never been so excited about a part in my fucking life.
There you go.
Scotty?
Just hearing Pastor laugh and Big Jiggly Panda just laughing is just two laughs cancel each other. It's fantastic. And here goes that boxing tactic. Box open. Oh well. Go.
My son's a whore. You done sucked like 5 other girls' pussies.
Huh? He's just laughing like a maniacal man.
What?
Nice.
I'll pick up back at 9.
Back up at 9.
I don't. That's awfully late for daycare center to be open.
Oh god. Oh god.
You crossed the line.
Oh, I got a big card. It's real big.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, that's Wildcat. He looks so different. See, that would be me. I suck at this impressive. I'm always like the person that's like snorted bath salts, and now that now I found somebody that sounds like it's a horse on ketamine. Please react to H2O Delirious Misspeaking compilation. Okay, we will find that.
Yes. These used to be competitive prop hunt players.
Yeah. Look.
This is prop hunt.
Didn't used to have markings. We've been whipping them.
Oh, delirious. Oh, delirious.
We took his brain out.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
We turned him into a Pac-Man's little bitch. That's right.
Huh?
Turned him into a Pac-Man's little bitch.
Pac-Man little bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
His mic
Ooh.
is
You turn him
hilarious.
into Pac-Man. You turn him into Pac-Man's little bitch.
I've played Among Us with him before. It sounds the same.
Oh,
He
they got
sounds
female
the
zombies now.
same.
Great.
He's had that forever. Damn, dude. Black Ops 3 is just so innovative. Female zombies now.
What'll they think of next?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Damn it, I just woke up.
I was gonna be cool because he was my fridge.
Then you said just sit there.
No, I was just.
Why is everybody talking at the same time?
Okay, delirious. Chill.
Got one mission, and our mission is to get on top of the satellite so we can get free cable.
Hell yeah.
Wait, that's not cable, it's satellite.
You're looking for us?
No, I'm looking for my friends, not you. You're not my friend.
Is it me you're looking for?
Oh yeah, there he is. Come back here, you little cone bitch.
I'm blue, Vanos is pink, Terrorizer's orange. Blue, green.
Press A.
Green.
You colorblind?
One of the colors, he's one of them.
Terrorizer is orange, green.
Thanks for helping me out there, Evan. Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Why are we not immune to the fucking, the bubbles?
What?
Oh, proximity mines. That's
Platinum.
new.
Platinum. Proximity mines. Wasn't there one more weapon? There's a double barrel shotgun. Look at
Barrel.
that. There's a Daryl.
There's Daryl. Where's the
The
double
threat
Daryl?
to
Where's
us
the
all.
double Daryl?
Daryl.
Where's the bubble? Where's the bubble Daryl shotgun?
Hey man, we are good, Bill.
Bubble Daryl shot.
What?
I got him!
Whoa, what is that?
It's like a gift birth.
Wait, what? Huh?
I think he was saying that because we're yelling, but who says that when they're delivering a baby?
Give birth. Push off.
Give birth! He just said in the back.
Can we just take a second to just take in what the hell Delirious is just doing? Delirious. He just says a lot of things. It's like, even if it's a dad, he's still one of those people that just can't shut that right from. Oh boy. This is why we're content creators. It's like, we can be so stupid wherever we want. It's like, nobody fucking cares. It's just, they know who we are. It's just dumb nonsense. Alright. Anyway, I think, oh wait, hold on. Let's just put this one back on because, and just load the volume because I actually want to have a little bit more commentary while I'm building this actually Plum Blossom set by Lego Icons because I really like the set. Strawberries. Very good.
That's why I always tell, shut shit up, shut shit up.
Chutch up 3 coming in. It's time to nutch up or shutch up.
You know what's funny? The other day, I caught myself saying, shush it. I don't know. I get this.
Shut up.
Shutch up. Alright, here we go. We're gonna start this off. Burger King onion ring move.
Burger King onion wing.
Onion wing.
Can't reach you
Princess, would you
to
like
the
to go to Burger
animatronic
King for some onion
family.
rings?
We're open real soon.
Get that chicken onion wing.
Oh, jeez.
Do it.
Onion wing. I just
I will
realized
well
what we were
wing.
saying.
Actually, while we're at it,
Guys,
me
thank you
just
so
go
much for
and
watching,
try
and
to
thanks again for
find
the suggestions.
a
Please comment below.
suitable kind of video that is a little bit more to my taste.
With the textures on.
No, not that. But yeah, this one.
Petscop is a masterpiece. Your boys at Garalina have
Yeah.
done it again. In the game, you take the
Now
role of
this is a classic
beautiful boy.
video.
Let's just call him this.
This
you
one
go
is a
around
classic
collecting
video
a variety
right
of items such as keys, party hats, and even beloved pets. Oh nice, I caught it. And each pet has a detailed description about them, much like reading an item description from Dark Souls. This game was the precursor to non-linear storytelling. I mean, who cares about Dark Souls, really? So what, you can turn yourself into a headstone, who cares? An amusing thing about Petscop is that
This
it's abnormally rare. The only actual way to find any footage of it is to visit a YouTube channel with the same
go.
name. And for some reason, the guy playing it sounds like Psychic Pebbles.
I'm just gonna keep going a bit here. Welcome to Schmucks. The game is apparently unfinished because there's nothing over here.
Damn. That sounds like
The visuals give you this nostalgic throwback to games like Spyro the Dragon and Parappa the Rapper. Seriously, to this day, I boot up Spyro just to look at them stunning skyboxes. There's something so humbling about them. The game is just amazing
Oh, yeah,
the way
pretty
it can
much.
track you in. Almost like an inescapable...
damn. I thought for a second that I actually crashed this. Damn.
She's in real trouble because then everything will tumble around her.
Damn. You be
So,
tripping.
I haven't been exactly honest with you about this game. As a matter of fact, I've lied to you. Petscop isn't real. It was uploaded onto the Petscop
No!
YouTube channel and
You
nowhere
don't
else
say.
because it doesn't exist. There is no family time waster game called Petscop. There is no Garalina video game company. Why are the levels unfinished? Who would release a game to the general public before completion? And no, I'm not talking about early access! Petscop is an enigma, and I want to dedicate this video to uncovering and
Wait, what?
analysing it. The format is presented as a let's
I
play,
think it's a
but as
little
the
bit better
series
if I have
progresses,
it down
both
here,
Paul
and
and
maybe-
ourselves find the game increasingly
Wait,
harder to
wait.
comprehend.
Just give me a second. Let me just find a suitable kind of candidate. Let's see. There we go. Beautiful. My old profile picture. I don't know why, but yeah. That's my profile picture back in the day. Like this one. Back in the day. Before all this nonsense. That was my profile picture. And to this day, I'm still proud of it.
I've left timestamps in the description for each Petscop video, and then an overall conclusion to wrap the series up. And also a disclaimer, as the themes in Petscop are incredibly dark and morbid, this game does a great job at decepting people. And I'd be lying to you if the series was bright colors and cheery music throughout. If this sounds like too much to handle, then feel free to retreat back to the YouTube trending tab. I'm sure there's some absolutely stellar content to be found there. Or if that doesn't interest you, I'm sure
Don't
PewDiePie
remind
has
me of
uploaded
that
another
one.
25
The godforsaken YouTube trending page. How the hell did people even find me in the first beginning? Like, come on. Oh well. Well, for now, there's no people watching, so yeah.
5-minute
I'm just gonna
unedited
build it.
Battlegrounds video with no
And if there's
face
any
cam.
people, I'm gonna chat. But for now, I'm just gonna ramble like a crazy person.
I thought I died! What the fuck? Yes! That's a joke, by the way.
But to the remaining 3% of you, let's begin the breakdown. The first Petscop video was uploaded the 12th of March 2017 with the description, "The Game I Found." The video begins
The
with
game
the
I
standard
found.
PlayStation 1 and Sony boot up start screens.
My god. Oh!
Something of note how the boot up sound for the PlayStation glitches out towards the end. As most PS1 discs at this point, unless seriously protected, would have scratches and marks, causing in-game glitches or effects. And secondly, that glitch could convey a sign of unease or disturbance. Imagine playing a video game, it's 3 in the morning, the only light is coming from your monitor, the only sound is coming from your headphones, and then the game crashes.
Oh yeah.
Silence. We've all experienced this at some point or another, that unease, that tension as you're taken away from the game into a silent, dark room. I could be massively overanalyzing a boot up screen, but still, that's the way I interpreted it. The next splash screen shows Garalina, the company that I assume developed and published Petscop. Again, as I've mentioned before, I'm sure that Garalina is a fictitious company, with any search of the name coming up with links back to Petscop like theories and subreddits. If this is the case, then I have to commend the creator for not only creating a fictional game, but a fictional company to back it. Finally, we arrive at the menu screen for Petscop, and we can see that the game was made in 1997. We're then introduced to our narrator for the series. He never states his actual name, but because he puts his save file name as Paul, that's what we'll refer to him as. Also of note, on the file name screen, we can see the PS1 controller prompts. Select, finish, and go back. But the triangle for go back seems to be quivering, while the other prompts seem fine. I'm unsure if this was intentional or not, but if it is the game telling us to go back? Also, this is a stretch, as I'm unsure if it applies to other countries outside the UK, but over here on the road, signs displayed in a triangle format mean a warning. This is definitely not related to Petscop, but just more food for thought.
Alright, so, this is just to, prove to you I'm not lying.
Guys, I fucking love our post comment. It's like, oh hey guys, do you know that the triangle in signs of the road means something? I know, it's shocking. I just find it funny.
I'm walk you through everything that I've seen.
And the compartment's my. Just when I fucking dropped the One Piece, god damn it. This is my punishment for making a dumb joke.
Originally, I assumed it was his
god
YouTube
damn it.
audience as he uploaded the series onto his channel with the description, the game I found. But his use of the pronoun you instead of you guys, I feel like instead of addressing an audience, he's addressing someone personal to him, like a friend. Getting a bit sidetracked, but I'm incredibly happy he never says you guys, because on this platform, that wording is so oversaturated.
It's like, hey, you, yeah? No, you.
I'm doing a live stream.
Who is that guy?
Look what I'm doing for you guys.
For you guys as well.
It's just so fucking stupid.
You guys.
Next,
you
the
guys.
screen, which is presented in a somewhat basic but
it's like when I tried to call my when I literally used the term literally so many times,
in the opening
and you people somehow get
and
annoyed.
Also has more meaning
I mean,
later
it's
on.
literally what I was
in the
saying.
first area of the game, what we can presume
I know
to be
there's going to be a lot of comments
plane.
afterwards. There's going to be like,
heaven-like
oh, you
realm
son of
where
a bitch.
white mist shrouds the area. Clouds can be seen in the distance, as well as those presents mentioned prior. A sign states the gift plane is closed indefinitely and all personnel have left. The sign also gives a brief explanation of what the gift plane is. A shelter for over 100 pets. Unfortunately, we have failed to remove all the pets from their homes. 48 pets remain here. We would strongly encourage you to visit our 8 homes and find some friends to take with you. Notice how the numbers of pets remaining and the homes of said pets are marked in red and quiver. Not too dissimilar as the triangle telling us to go back did. So already we've been given our goal in a text box. Nothing really out of the ordinary, and honestly, this text crawl is how a lot of games began their adventures back in the 90s. Paul then travels to the far right of the map, revealing that the game is unfinished. There's no big door or a gate halting our progress until we have a certain amount of items. There's just nothing. So instead, Paul goes inside Even Care, the seemingly only finished level of the game. The entrance, instead of having more white mist, is decorated with trees, grass, and a hedge surrounding the area. Inside Even Care, the misty flames are replaced with vibrant pinks and blues, splashed all over the walls and floors. Each room is also sparsely decorated with desks, tables, and chairs. Even though we're presented with this bright color palette and cheery music, if anything, it makes you feel more uncomfortable, like it's a front for something inconceivably dark. The first item we can interact with is a picture of Tony, the bird marked in red, and Rose, the flower marked in green. Paul then tries to open a door down the hallway and is told this door is locked. Or not, but you don't know how to open doors. This is most definitely a nod to the fact that Paul's character has oversized feet, but no arms or hands to speak of. From here on in, the messages on the boards get more disturbing, much like any other horror game that builds tension. Another sign states, when you're choosing a pet, find somebody that you like. You don't have to love them right away. Notice how the sign said both pet and somebody in the same sentence. It seems strange that you refer to a pet as somebody. The sign adjacent says, don't be discouraged if they run from you. They really do want a home. They're afraid. Show them that there's nothing to be afraid of. The first pet we come across is Amber. Her appearance is this giant grey ball wearing what appears to be a dark green hat.
Look at this fucking fedora, princess.
And although she seems to be locked up inside a small cell, her expression is one of glee. There's a trophy in front of her cage with an inscription stating, she's a real champ for never leaving her cage. And that trophy seems to hold some merit, as Amber is very reluctant to leave her cage. Firstly, Paul opens her cage, which makes her retreat to the empty cage. Paul then locks himself inside her cage. Amber hops back into the cage, thinking it's empty, and we catch her. Paul was only able to catch Amber by tricking her. Amber thought she could return to the safety of her cage, only for Paul to be waiting inside said cage to catch her. Although this was a puzzle, it was definitely one of deception, and we'll notice this as a reoccurring theme throughout the series. Amber's item description reads, Amber is a young boy. She's afraid to leave home. If her home is good, this is not a problem. She is very heavy, and that makes her life a little harder, as well as yours. What's the safest place you can put her in? You should start thinking about that. Now, I can understand the term homebody is used a lot, somebody who likes to stay at home and is generally unadventurous. But what would bring Amber to classify her home as what appears to be a prison cell? A couple rooms down, Paul finds Ronith, and he goes on to say in the video that as much as he's tried, he's unable to catch him. Something of note is how Ronith looks like a combination of Tonith the bird and Randis the flower. Apart from physical similarities, Ronith is a mix between the names Tonith and Randis. So could Ronith be the child of these two? Personally, I hope not. I've seen enough Flowey Rule 34 to last a lifetime. Unsuccessful in catching Ronith, Paul retreats into another room where we find another pet. Paul demonstrates his past experience with the game and explains how to catch the pet. The last two pets we find in Even Care are Wavy the rain cloud and Brandis the flower. The two follow each other in some sort of relationship where Wavy has to support Randis with his rainwater. Whenever Paul approaches either one of them, they disappear, so Paul has to drag a rain bucket onto the soil and forces Wavy to put his rainwater inside the bucket, meaning Randis can't get any and shrivels up, so Paul is able to collect the two of them. Paul then returns to the room with Ronith and reads out a note he apparently found with the copy of the game. The note reads, I walked downstairs, and when I got to the bottom, instead of proceeding, I turned the right and became a shadow monster man. Another section of the note displays a date, the 13th of June, 1997. For you. Please go down to my website on the sticker, and also go to Ronith's room and press start, and press down, 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 right, start. Two quick things to mention. The website on the note is never linked or spoken of again. And the date on the note, the 13th of June 1997, is Friday the 13th. And I'm pretty sure all of you know at this point that that day is associated with bad luck. As soon as Paul enters the code on the note, the music comes to a halt. Everything is still. And watching the series back, I now realize how well of a job the goofy music did in covering the uncomfortable atmosphere of this game. Paul then leaves Even Care the way he came in, but instead of finding himself back onto Gift Plain, we're transported to a dark, murky, and gloomy place. It looks like a test room, not too dissimilar from a debug room, like for example the one in Fallout 4. But instead of dreary buildings and brown skies, there's nothing. Literally nothing. Only the grass Paul walks on and the darkness that seems to stretch for miles. The only visible light now seems to be emanating from Paul's own character. Now, there's something I didn't even realize until multiple viewings of this video. Watch the loading screen when Paul travels from even care to here. Did you see that? Well, I didn't either. Not until you adjust the brightness with some post-editing until you see this. I'm unsure what this is. It looks like a crude drawing of a child, but it's really hard to make out. And it clearly isn't a cheap jump scare because without post-editing, I wouldn't have been able to show you this. This face, if you can even call it that, does have some relevancy, which we'll talk about later on. After a while, Paul finds what looks to be some sort of hatch and comments how he can't open it. And with no way to open the door, Petscop 1 concludes. Petscop 2 was uploaded the 1st of April 2017. The video has no description. The video begins exactly where the first one left off, with the door now randomly opening on its own, accompanied by a collection of beeping sounds. Paul then gives his somewhat confused reaction.
Hey, so, the door opened on its own. I was just in the other room for
come on.
a couple of minutes.
Don't you dare show
and I came
up.
back and the door was open.
Don't you
and
dare,
I checked
don't you dare.
the recording, because I was recording, and
Oh, I
the
do
door
not
just
like
opened
the
on its
air
own.
at all.
I didn't do anything.
When Paul enters, the game cuts to black. Loading up the next area, we can see a dark image within the loading screen. Some enhancement, and we can see what appears to be a collection of floating rooms and objects. Nothing too clear to be made out, though. He then walks in front of some sort of vibrating machine. It looks like a generator or a furnace, but honestly, I'm not too sure. The model is basic and somewhat featureless, so I'm not sure what to describe it as. Paul then enters the next room and finds some more collectibles. I'm honestly unsure what to label these things, as they're never explicitly given a name. Although they look like an assortment of gems from Spyro the Dragon and rings from Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm gonna call them gifts, as this is a much more fitting name to the overall theme of the game. And some of these items do look like genuine party gifts. Take, for example, these triangle-shaped ones that look like party hats. It's actually quite ironic that these gifts resemble items from other platformers, but if you compare these protagonists against Paul, there's little to no similarities. Paul's color palette is drab and faded, and the enlarged eyes that most characters have, Paul's are tiny. It really shows what a juxtaposition Petscop originally was, with these bright and cheery environments, while your character is incredibly dreary by design. Paul seems to fit so much better in this underworld area. Maybe this is where he came from. Maybe this is his home. Another thing of note, I found it strange that there are still gifts down here to collect, almost like someone wanted us down here. Or to some extent, this area was to be programmed in the game, but never made it past the development phase. Hence why Paul needed a code to get here in the first place. Cheat codes have always been intertwined with developing games, as early cheat codes were used by developers to test their games. Like, for example, God Mode or NoClip. So it makes sense as to why Paul would have needed a code to access this seemingly unfinished area. As Paul continues through these rooms, we hear a ringing phone that seems to catch him off guard. The caller states Care left the room, with Care marked in yellow. Paul then notices a bulletin board.
Well, I would, but I reckon the wildlife is going to do it all for you, to be honest.
And on the board we see a note with what I assume to be the same child in 3 different states. A, B, and NLM. A seems to be somber and neutral, B appears to be more rugged and worse for wear, and NLM appears to be in shock, covering their face with even the wording in wavy italics. Continuing on, Paul finds a walkway with what seems to be a deep chasm to his right. Traveling through the walkway, we see a large picture posted on the wall, displayed as a small house painted green. Paul then progresses onwards to find yet another picture. This picture displays a brick building. I'm unsure of what the building is, due to the lack of expression on it. Paul then finds a third and final picture showing a windmill. Something to note about these pictures is they were all taken on the same dark, grassy plain Paul first found himself in. On top of that, when Paul observes the large brick building, an atmospheric audio cue plays. This cue isn't played when inspecting the other two pictures, meaning there's something much more ominous about this building. Further up, we see what looks like a road with cars traveling on it. Paul tries to explore either direction of the road. There are gifts he can collect, but they end up being dead ends. Paul then walks through a small opening, and the loading screen seems to be showing something. With some enhancement, we can see what appears to be a staircase with a door at the bottom, but also a doorway on the right with what seems to be light emanating from it. This seems to be in reference from the note Paul found in the first Petscop video talking about going to the bottom of the stairs, but instead of proceeding, he turned right and became a shadow monster man. Paul finds himself outside and apologizes for his lack of commentary.
Sorry for not talking very much. I'm a little bewildered, if you want to know the truth. This is a little more than I was expecting to see.
This area looks similar to the first area after leaving Even Care, but this place has rocks, fencing, and what looks like to be a shed. So we can gather that this is some sort of backyard or garden. Furthermore, there's what appears to be a headstone with eyes. The headstone inscription reads, Michael Hammond, 1988 to 1995. Mike was a gift. This would have meant Michael passed away age 7, an incredibly dark topic for such a seemingly light-hearted game. Two things to note is how Michael's name is expressed in pink, and there appears to be a present shape built into the headstone, which reinforces Mike was a gift. This shape worked into the headstone is what we originally saw in the first loading screen and was placed all over the gift plane, further reinforcing the theme of gifts into this game. Paul then comments on Michael's headstone with what I can say the best social commentary to date.
That's a dead kid.
Paul then enters the shed, and along with some gardening tools, we see an oversized daisy that seems to have broken through the floorboards. Paul then interacts with the daisy, causing it to lose a petal each time, sinking it more into the floor, with the screen shifting to a red tone with every few petals pulled. Before Paul can pull the last remaining petals, he leaves the shed. Paul then enters the adjacent door to the shed, and we're greeted with what appears to be NLM. Now, from what I can gather, this is Care, the child who the phone stated earlier left the room. And I also believe that the daisy in the previous room is linked to Care in some way. When Paul yanked the petals from the flower, you heard a high-pitched tone, followed by a low-pitched tone. The low tone is accompanied by the screen shifting to red, so the red color isn't random or for every petal. It's for every second petal, which means this daisy would work in a similar way to They Love Me or They Love Me Not, a scenario in which you'd pull the leaves off a petal to decide if someone loves you or not, with the final decision being made on the final petal pulled. To conclude, I think NLM is an acronym for Nobody Loves Me, much like when you pull the final petal from a flower and it concludes with They Love Me Not. The final petal makes a low tone and the screen shifts to red, indicating the petal indeed concluded on They Love Me Not. Paul then leaves and returns to the room with Care to see they're now a disconcerted mess. Broken and glitched textures moving around as if they're in a great deal of pain. Paul tries to catch Care like they're any other pet, but he can't seem to as he clips right through them. Something that genuinely caught me off guard about this sequence is how there's no music. No dark, brooding, atmospheric sound effects. There's nothing, just the broken expression on Care's face. Paul then leaves the building, and you can really hear in his voice how confused he is.
So when I first came down here, I thought I was just gonna see, like, one room. Like something, but not this.
I really love how
it's a
Paul
bit
conveys
unsettling.
emotion throughout Petscop. This is a game that Paul has most definitely made by himself, and
You know, considering the fact that this game, while not existing, they took their time to make Petscop actually being, well, believable that it actually exists, despite not even exist. It's that brilliant. And I am so on board with these people. Like, good, like, for the love of God, that good job, man. Like, dear God, it's just fantastic. And there's me with autism just fumble my words. As usual. God damn it.
Placed himself inside to really sell the idea that this game existed. And these subtle moments he has where he's clearly uncomfortable really sells to us how much this game is hitting him. After discovering a secret passage, Paul enters a room decorated with what seems to be children's drawings of a figure. The drawings vary, but it always seems to represent the same overall shape. Eventually, Paul meets the object that these drawings were based off, except instead of coloured blue like in the drawings, it's crimson red. Whether there is actually a blue version of this object is currently unknown. Maybe the person who drew it only had a blue pen available. Paul is then given a prompt to interact with the object, and by doing so is given a text box. The box looks exactly the same as the one in the intro where Paul was entering his file name, albeit the box is red instead of blue and the text is white instead of black. One theory I had is that the colours were opposite, which would point towards this place being some sort of underworld. And although the white and black are opposite colours, red isn't blue's opposite, it's orange. So that theory is shaky at best. The text box simply states ask. So Paul asks it a question, if you can even call it that. Paul asks, what? And the object answers with, I don't know. Notice the poor handwriting of the answer the object gives, much like a child. Paul then chuckles to himself, probably realizing that such a baseless question would give such a dumbfounded answer. Paul looks outside from what looks like a TV screen and we see a windmill, the exact windmill from the picture we found earlier. The object then tells Paul to keep watching the windmill. Paul hesitantly accepts and looks again at the windmill. We then hear 2 audio cues. Paul then goes on to explain what his plans are for the future of the series.
Hello.
Alright, so it's been like 2 minutes. And when those sounds were playing, there was nothing happening as far as I could tell, and nothing has happened.
The fact that it actually did it, it's just...
So, I'm just gonna keep going.
I should probably mention that this thing...
There's already been stuff
let me just...
that I could dig a little deeper into.
Let me just...
and I'm gonna do that. And keep you updated. But also, when you come home next month, and hopefully you're feeling a little more enthusiastic about that now, we can investigate this together. And maybe you'll find stuff that I can't find here.
It feels like Paul is not talking to us, but someone in particular. Almost like these recordings of Petscop were made for someone he personally knows. But nevertheless, this is Paul acknowledging he knows at least one person watches these videos, albeit not a large YouTube audience. Paul could be talking to Raina, an individual listed in the channel's About section, who gave him this gift, which I assume to be the game Petscop, on Christmas 1997 and 2000, and that Raina had been missing between June 1997 and 2000. Although that wouldn't make much sense, as if Raina gave Paul the copy of Petscop, surely Raina would have played it themselves beforehand? Maybe it was a race to see who could uncover more secrets about the game first, but maybe Raina gave up, so left it to Paul to continue the search and give Raina updates. But this would conflict with the entire Petscop YouTube channel, as these videos were uploaded publicly for the world to see. They weren't unlisted. invested. So why would Paul post these videos publicly, but then address the audience like they're one person? Maybe Paul isn't even the one in control of the channel and someone else is pulling the strings. After some extremely narrow walkways, Paul enters in a room with pink furniture. At the end of the room we see a mirror, and beyond that mirror, a copy of ourselves appears on the reflection side. It has the same oversized feet and torso as Paul, but instead of having the same head, it has a menacing drawing of a girl's face instead, with vacant eyes and a frightening smile. This head looks very similar to the one we found in the loading screen when Paul first arrived here. The creature follows Paul's movements perfectly, much like any reflection, but then Paul walks behind a shelf and something changes.
What the fuck?
The creature isn't copying Paul anymore. It's moving sporadically on its own volition. It's still following Paul somewhat, but not exactly. It loses attention and it trails off, only to quickly attempt to correct itself. It seems to have very poor attention, much like a child. A few moments later, the creature corrects its behavior and starts copying Paul's movements perfectly again. It's gone back to a reflection. Also note how the floor says quitter's room backwards, but on the reflected side it says the same thing, only the correct way round. This could indicate we're not in our own reality anymore, but a mirror one. A reality similar to our own, but subtle things are different, or maybe it could signify something much darker. Take for example the mirror room from Silent Hill 3. We see a reflection of the game's protagonist, Heather. On the reflection side, a mass of tendrils leaves the reflection and enters our own side of the mirror, corrupting the room and eventually killing Heather.
I always... When I saw... Actually, here's the thing with that scene is like... When I saw that as a kid, when I saw that on YouTube, I was fucking terrified as a child. It was traumatized. I never saw that before when I was like 7, and dear God, it got me good. It got me good. It's like, dear flipping God, the fact that a mirror can corrupt real life is something I never saw in my life, but it caught my attention real good. That, boom, and boom. Here we go.
Person in this dark world, or is our perception skewed and we're the invader without even knowing it? Seems like a loose resemblance to Silent Hill, but come on, this is the only time I'm going to be able to make that comparison. I'll sure as heck take it. Paul then walks towards the walls and we see a note stuck to it.
I can agree.
This is backwards. It says, do you remember being born?
Paul then leaves and we find ourselves exiting through the same door we entered at the beginning, only now the door is facing away from the camera. And with that, Petscop 2 concludes. Petscop 3 was uploaded the 2nd of April 2017, a day after Petscop 2. In this video, Paul walks past a wall with giant text saying, "Good grief and alas." This quote is very important, as it was also said in the Dr. Seuss book, Daisy Head Maisie. In said book, a girl
Daisy
called Maisie has a daisy flower.
My God, the references to old cartoons and anime series from books is... I do love that kind of detail. And that they respect the author's novel, instead of Hollywood just being a bunch of, well, sweat lords trying to... well, prove to everyone that they can do better, and they just cannot. It just proves that back in the day, these people could do better than what Hollywood could not. It just shows that Hollywood right now is cooked, because they cannot do something good anymore. The only thing they are good at, or trying to be good at, is entertainment, but that's kind of something that's a little bit obscure, and that is in a quotation entertainment, because all they did for the past like couple of years, like almost a decade, trying to enforce politics and pander so hard that people have grown so tired of these people, and I do not blame anyone who are sick and tired of these people in Hollywood. I do not condone. And it also makes other communities look bad, especially the LGBT. Now, since there's those who just want to be normal, just trying to hide their sexuality because of, well, the people mentally ill and Hollywood just making things worse. And I am so damn sorry for those people, because dear God, they are they're annoying. I know, they're annoying.
Grow on her head, and she's mocked and bullied for being different. This links back to Care NLM, as NLM, or Nobody Loves Me, is what Maisie said near the end of the book.
Nobody loves me.
Oh, poor girl.
Nobody loves me.
Poor girl.
Nobody loves me.
Notice how Maisie and Care both show their distress in a similar way. The most morbid thing about this whole premise with Care, it's the opposite ending to the Dr. Seuss book. As with Maisie, the last petal ends with "They love me."
Don't worry, Maisie. They love you.
But in Petscop, the petal ends with "They love me not." It's
Vampire
almost
waifu,
like looking
get
through a
me.
mirror. Paul then comes across
thank
some
God.
sort of shaft, and he comes to the
They're saying-
conclusion he has to place something inside it.
There's a bench.
I think you have to put something there.
A bit more exploring, and Paul stumbles across an easel with a canvas on it. Interacting with the canvas, Paul can make a face with many choices of eyes, eyebrows,
You cannot see me
and
my
noses.
face right
Paul
now, but if
inputs
you saw
random
my
facial
face,
features and
you
seems
would
to have
know
triggered
that I
something
would
as the
flip
room
out.
begins to shake violently. When he walks
I
through the door
almost
frame,
shat
we see that the
myself.
entire room is moving,
I'm not
almost
joking.
like an elevator. So we gather that putting specific faces onto the canvas takes Paul to different rooms. Eventually, the elevator reaches its destination, and we find ourselves in what appears to be a child's bedroom. There appears to be a child, or something shaped like a child, sitting down on the bed. It appears to be rendered into the background itself, so I can safely say it isn't going to get up and jump scare anybody. Paul can't interact with the child, but observes the table, and we see an 8-ball and a red truck. Paul then returns to the elevator and enters another random string of faces onto the canvas, taking him to another room. This room doesn't look too dissimilar from the previous one, apart from the obvious change in color.
Okay, how
Paul
many
does this multiple times with nothing much of note, but Paul reckons that these rooms are randomly generated.
It seems like there are many combinations of these faces. So, if I were to guess, these rooms are, because there's not much variation between these rooms, they're probably generated
circular
in some way.
piece.
So I'll try a few more. Every time I
Go,
put in one of these, I have
and
to
then
wait
add more
for like
pebbles.
10 minutes. So I'm not gonna try too many of
go.
them.
Now, I don't know the inner workings of PlayStation 1 hardware, but this extremely lengthy wait would make sense as the PS1 had several hardware limitations. But then again, I don't think consoles back then could randomly generate environments. I could be wrong, but I am making a comparison to
Like and
Minecraft.
subscribe
Paul
if you
then
agree I'm
returns to
weird.
Michael Hammond's grave and inputs
You have
the
my
face
permission
seen on his
to call me a
headstone.
Wojak.
A text box from the
Because I
canvas
do
says,
agree,
Mike
I
is not
do look
inside
like a
right now. He is
Wojak.
dead. You may visit his room. Inside Michael's room,
Man, if you
nothing
want your
stands
own
out
Wojak,
except on
just
the table. We now see the same red object
I will say
that
this,
Paul
if
was
you
asking questions
wait,
to in the previous
let me just
Petscop
pause the
video.
video.
Also of
Is
note
that if you want to see me as a kind of a Wojak meme, join my membership and I will literally make a Wojak emote. I am not joking. You can pretty much have your own Miky Wojak emoji. I will guarantee you that, and it's only a $1 for now, because I do not know if you people are interested in joining my membership. But I will guarantee you, I will literally make a Wojak emoji, because who does not want a Wojak emoji? I mean, there's a lot of people that literally have their own kind of Pepe kind of emojis just to post something. Man, I should really have something on my Twitch. If I ever going through that, well, website, because damn, I really want to stream a lot, but considering, well, life gets in the way and trying to be at work, my real work, because I work at McDonald's, it gets a bit busy, and I don't have that much time. But when I do, I will promise to make more streams, but either way, let's continue.
There's no child on the bed because, as Paul stated earlier,
That's a dead kid.
Paul then returns to the canvas and inputs the same face that was
Thanks
seen
for that.
above the door where Care NLM was found. The canvas tells us Care is missing, using the same yellow text for Care that was used when we were told on the phone that Care left the room. So from what we can gather, any colours displayed in text usually signifies a specific person. For example, red for the object near the window and pink for Michael Hammond. Inside Care's room, we see the same object on the table that was in Michael's room, again resembling the object near the windmill, and much like Michael's room, the bed is empty. At the back of the room is a piece of paper attached to the wall. The note reads, "Your wife says Care isn't growing eyebrows. Note again how Care is marked in yellow. You say that's a puzzle. Also note that this text is green. This isn't the first time we've seen green text. The first instance of this was with Randis the flower. But Randis's text has a black and green gradient, but this text has a white and green gradient. So it's best to assume the person talking on the note and Randis are not one and the same." The note continues saying, "You're secretly very excited to hear this news. You're in the bathtub, thinking about her. I have a guess at which child you'll pick next. When you find her room, the passage to my right will lead to her. She'll appear from the darkness limping, and I'll shoot her in the head." Tiara says young people can be psychologically damaged beyond rebirthing. The name Tiara and beyond rebirthing are marked in purple. This text also has a white gradient to it. Keep in mind we've yet to see or meet anyone called Tiara. The note continues to say, "A young person walks into your school building. They walk in with you. You're holding their hand. They come out crying into their hands because nobody will love them. Not ever again. Nobody loves me." Note that this is marked in yellow, probably said by Care themselves. They wander the new makeup plane. Paul then gives his conclusions on the paper, although it's articulated more like ramblings than anything else.
This note is referring to the player. It's saying you. I was already thinking this, but it seems like it's possible. This game was made, well, this part of the game was made for somebody to see.
Paul then travels to another area and finds it to be totally empty. I find it quite ironic that an unfinished game has a whole secret area to it, only for that area to have unfinished parts as well.
So, okay, I'll just end this here then.
And with that, the third Petscop video concludes. Before we continue, I just want to give my thoughts on the entirety of Petscop and what it means in a greater picture. Petscop seems to be a meta-narrative for most creepypasta stories. Paul has used an interactive media, a Let's Play format, as a conduit to tell a story that's purposely vague with many branching paths and themes. Not to confuse people, but to let them world build themselves and come to their own conclusions.
Actually also
Paul has
used
given us
this
a puzzle
formula,
set,
which
but the
is
pieces
of
are
course
missing. With each
the NES Godzilla, which it has shown its age, but I really like that story, even though there are some parts that could have been a little bit better written, to say the least.
Petscop episode, more and more pieces are given to us, but some pieces stand out. They don't fit with others. We can't put the pieces together and probably never will. And in the end, we'll probably have enough pieces to form a conclusion, but it won't be enough to complete the puzzle. We'll have to finish that in our own minds. Petscop 4 was uploaded the 7th of April 2017, 5 days after Petscop 3. This video is a lot shorter than the other parts, clocking in at only 2 minutes. This part feels more like an update from Paul and his findings than making any actual progress into the world he's fallen into.
So if you remember what I was trying to explain yesterday and failed to explain, I'm just gonna demonstrate that to you now. So I found this yesterday.
Boop.
We're upstairs right now. You just saw me walk up some stairs. What would be exactly below where I'm standing right now? And I worked it out. It's roughly the area where you have the big screen with the windmill. So this I think is a camera. This is roughly where the windmill would be. Why there isn't actually a windmill here, I don't know.
Paul is essentially trying to demonstrate that this camera records this platform, and through the TV in Petscop 2, it appears as a windmill. This part honestly confused me because Paul has never explained this camera and windmill theory before, but he talks like we're completely aware of it. This is most probably to reinforce the idea that Paul recorded these videos for a friend, and if these two were in close contact, Paul supposedly explained this camera and windmill theory to his friend in real life and then demonstrated it again within the game. That, or Paul isn't the one editing and uploading these videos onto the Petscop YouTube channel. There's also something else about this video. I'll play the clip to see if you can pick it up. Take everything around Paul into consideration.
But yeah, I think my understanding is correct. It's just, I'm missing something. Okay, that's it.
Did you see that? Keep an eye on the top right of the screen.
It's just, I'm missing something.
There's clearly something there, watching Paul, but quickly runs back into the darkness when Paul turns around. I have a theory to who this is, which I'll bring up later. And with that, abruptly ends Petscop 4.
Yep.
Petscop 5 was uploaded the 11th
how
of
he
April
uses
2017,
Silent Hill
4
music
days after the previous
after
video.
talk
It
about
opens
the
with
Silent
Paul
Hill.
returning back to the red object found near the windmill, and Paul explains his interactions with it.
Alright, so I spent a while with this, just asking as many questions as I could think of. Mostly like short, 3-word things. And most of the questions that I asked just produced no answer. Or,
oh, thank God.
Default answer.
Oh.
Default answer, which is, I don't know. Most of them just gave me that.
Ugh.
Except for 4 of them.
God.
And I'm gonna go through each of those 4 now.
Firstly, he asks who is Tiara, supposedly the person mentioned on the note in Petscop 3. The object responds by saying, Petscop kid very smart. He asks a second question. Who am I? The object refers to him as Newmaker. Finally, Paul asks where he is. The object responds, under the Newmaker plane. Something of note is how Petscop has many ties to the story of Candice Newmaker. If you've watched other videos analysing Petscop,
Here
I'm
we
sure
go with
you're
that
fully
story.
informed about this horrible tale, but to those who aren't, I'll explain. But be warned, this story is true and incredibly sickening. In April 18th, 2000, Candice Tiara Elmore was separated from her family at the age of 5. She was later adopted by Jean Newmaker, changing Candice's name from Candice Tiara Elmore to Candice Elizabeth Newmaker. Candice was allegedly unruly with her adoptive parent, destroying things and fighting other children. She was later diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder. Jean then discovered attachment therapy and experimental therapy in an attempt to reattach Candice to her adoptive mother. She was taken from North Carolina to Colorado, where Jean paid $7,000 for a 2-week course of attachment therapy with Connell Watkins and Julie Ponder. The procedure was meant to simulate a birth. Candice was placed on the pillows and sat on by 4 adults. With the simple...
It isn't Candice, but yeah. The fact that this is actually a real thing is just insane. And what's even more insane is... oh boy. What comes next?
Instructions to free herself.
Oh
She
boy.
was asked over and over, do you want to be born or do you want to die? Candice would cry out saying she was dying, to which Watkins would respond, you want to die? Okay then, die. Go ahead. Die right now. Ponder would go on to mock Candice. Quitter, 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 quick, 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 she's a quitter. 40 minutes into the procedure.
Jesus Christ. The fact that this... or honestly, this kind of story was literally... this Petscop is connected to this story that is real. It's a yikes. But... yeah. But but the fact that they actually made a kind of a story about that is, well, I would say something that is a little bit more, well, more creepypasta storytelling than a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff that actually uses a story that about a woman that pretty much is no longer with us and uses her as a kind of a creature to attack the player. Yeah, I wish I was joking, but nope. That's something I saw from one video about FNAF ripoff games. Mobile games, none less. If you are one of those people that know what I'm talking about, yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because, oh boy, I might show that one. I might show that one off later on because, oh boy, that story is.
Candice said her very last word. No. Only 70 minutes into the procedure did they free Candice to find out that she was unconscious. Blue on her lips and fingertips and not breathing. Surprisingly, Watkins was unmoved by seeing an unconscious child, going on to say, "Oh, there she is, sleeping in her vomit." Paramedics were able to...
The fact that they said that is wild. Fuck those people. Dear God. To actually say to a kid, yeah, they deserve prison and be charged for doing this stuff.
Restore Candice's pulse, and she was flown by helicopter to a hospital in Denver. She was declared brain dead the next day due to asphyxia and taken off life support on April 18th, 2000. Both Watkins and Ponder were charged with reckless child abuse, resulting in death, and both received 16-year prison sentences. Jean Newmaker pleaded guilty to neglect and abuse charges and was given a 4-year suspended sentence, after which the charges were expunged from her record. Watkins was paroled in June 2008 under intensive supervision, with restrictions on contact with children or counseling work, having only served 7 of her 16-year sentence. Disgusting to think that someone so neglectful of child safety will at some point be able to even come into contact with a child on the basis to help them. There's an entire transcript of the procedure I'll link down below, but I do have to warn you, it's an incredibly disturbing read. There were other people involved in the procedure called therapeutic foster parents, who were there to help the procedure come to fruition, bringing the total to 5 people involved. 5 people watching a girl suffer and did nothing, and the majority actually contributed to that suffering. The only person who I'd say didn't was Jean Newmaker herself, who left the room. But still, she made no attempt to help this child, clearly in agony. But how is this story linked to Petscop? Well, it isn't. Not directly. There isn't a Scooby-Doo episode where we unmask the bad guy after gathering all the clues. But there are subtle references scattered throughout the entire series, which we can point to looking back at that note in Petscop 3. We see Tiara talking about rebirth. Tiara was Candice's original middle name, Candice Tiara Elmore. And rebirthing is the therapy that Candice undergone to hopefully reattach to her adoptive mother. Also, the room with the doppelganger back in Petscop 2 is called Quitter's Room, a name Julie Ponder, one of the therapists, would call Candice over and over. Also, the drawing on the other side of the reflection
Thanks for reminding me that.
somewhat like a girl, albeit crudely drawn. Could this be in reference to Candice herself? When Paul asked the object who he was, the object replied with Newmaker. And when asked where we are, it answered, under the Newmaker plane. I honestly find it quite hard to believe that Candice Newmaker is referred to in this game, because if you compare the dates, Candice died on the 18th of April 2000, but Petscop was apparently released in 1997. Which would mean whoever developed this game would have had to travel in the future, then back into the past. I understand I'm talking like this game is real, which it most likely isn't, but still, that massive plot hole really confuses me. Instead of focusing on Candice, I looked up the meaning for the name Newmaker. One site I found gave its interpretation of the word. Newmaker, an idealist who dreams of living in a harmonious world. People with this name tend to be naturally loyal and compassionate. Developing those qualities further can be beneficial. Service is one of your key beliefs. you know that something is only given once it's earned. Eager to learn, your curious and tolerant essence likes progress. Not the biggest fan of secrets, rather than keep them, you want to unveil them. Perceiving other people's feelings on a deeper level is made possible by your distinctive empathy. This essentially lets you read others like an open book. Your interest in psychology can lift your observational and deduction skills on a completely different level. Now, I couldn't find this on any other site, so unfortunately this might be the case that it's just a bunch of randomly generated nonsense, much like opening a fortune cookie. But nevertheless, the fact the meaning of Newmaker is apparently to unveil secrets and an interest in psychology really ties to Paul's character as he uncovers the Newmaker plane through a secret code. An interest in psychology ties back to Candice having constant run-ins with people who worked in that field. Newmaker could be a title given to people that enter the Newmaker plane for the first time. This isn't the first time in media where the protagonist enters an alien world and is proclaimed the chosen one to fix everything. I think this was a purpose design choice, to give subtle references to the Newmaker story but not enough to have a conclusion. Petscop isn't about Candice Newmaker. From the way I see it, we're traveling through a broken and unfinished world where very little makes sense.
The flow of time itself is convoluted.
We'll see worlds, stories, fact and fiction intertwine with one another, but it will never be the thing spearheading Petscop. After a while, the object goes from a crimson red to a bright pink that even catches Paul off guard. Paul asks the now pinked object who it is. At first, it seems like the object is broke and can't give answers anymore, until a message appears in block capitals saying, "Turn off PlayStation." Now, if we're working with our theory of colours representing characters in Petscop, the sudden change to pink must mean that Michael Hammond is controlling the object, and he's demanding Paul turns off the console. Paul asks why he should. Then Michael responds with, "Marvin picks up tool. Hurts me when PlayStation on." The poor grammar points towards this is said by a child, and Michael was 7 at the time of his apparent death. So this could genuinely be Michael Hammond we're communicating with. The character Marvin Michael is referencing, I'll talk about him later on. When Paul tries to ask the purple object another question, it changes back to its original crimson red. So our connection with Michael has apparently been severed. When asked, "Who are you?" the object replies with, "Tool," with the shape of itself crudely drawn. So we now know the name of this character, and I can stop referring to it as object because that got really annoying. One thing I noticed going back on this footage, there's a brief moment where Paul's character contorts and glitches out, with what appears to be a semi-transparent liquid hitting the floor. I'm not sure whether this is the game artifacting or done on purpose, but it still really caught me off guard, because up until this point, we've had no real jump scares, and honestly, watching this series on your own, the tension does an amazing job at playing tricks on you. Paul asks Tool one final question. Remember being born? Most likely in reference from the Quitter's Room in Petscop 2. To which Tool replies, "I'm not Tiara." Looking into the video description, we see a collection of questions Paul asks Tool. Some could be seen as very critical, like who is Marvin and who is Care? Sadly, Tool apparently responded to every single one of these questions with "I don't know." One thing of note is, who is Marvin has next to it in brackets, "We asked this one after the video ended." Paul uses the term "we," which points to the fact that there is more than one person running this channel, even though we've heard no one else narrate except Paul himself. And with that,
and now let's just dump all these
close.
studs, these hollow studs, in this bucket. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16.
Petscop 6 was uploaded the 20th of April 2017, 8 days after Petscop 5. The video begins with the windmill accompanied by 2 large booming noises. The video then skips ahead 2 hours and 39 minutes. The blades on the windmill slow down and begin rotating anti-clockwise. A low, ominous tone begins to play.
Now I have the cherry blossom, or plum blossom.
We see a character, not too dissimilar from Paul's, cloaked in shadow. This could be the figure we saw moving behind the windmill in Petscop 4. It would make sense as both of them seem to be in very close proximity of each other. This could even be the Shadow Man the note was referring to all the way back in the first Petscop episode. This figure moves from behind the windmill when we first see it in the video. The dark figure then moves towards the camera, moving it to another direction, and the screen cuts to this image. This image could signify a lot of things. Circles can represent Ouroboros, the dragon eating its own tail, and signifies a loop or something constantly recreating itself. This could mean the new Maker plane has been here for a while, and the cycle of these strange happenings with the bed.
Yeah. I use some was-like decals to literally customize Optimus Prime for a little bit more cartoony appearance, but also has some realistic details. But for the most part, I kinda pretty much did it a pretty well done job. If I focus. Come on, focus. Focus on me. There we go. Yep. It was pretty damn good. But the best part was with the trailer. Which, if I bring it up, it went from just plain gray to more kind of cartoony G1 called Toy Addict details. And I think I did an amazing job. Well, sort of. The ramps here could have... Well, the silver lining here could have been a little bit better. I might have fucked it up a little bit, but other than that, yeah, I think I did a very splendid job adding the decals on this figure. Because dear Lord, look at all that. Look at it. So cool. I love it. I love it so much. And I might sell this figure out so someone else can enjoy it even more. Because I do love these figures. I also want others to enjoy it as well. But yeah. Aligning this decal was pretty much simple. All I did was just plasting this part here and just drag the paper while adding the decal, and it was going pretty smooth. But of course it forms bubbles. But of course, when there's bubbles, the recommendation is to poke some holes on the decal to get the bubbles out. But for the most part, yeah, I think I did a better job with the decals here than on other kits that I had. And let's not forget about the Roller, because holy crap, I think I did a very good job with Roller and the others. Even the drone here, which if you can see here, I added some details that wasn't on the original figure, but now he has some very nicely details. Look at that. It's very nice. My camera is so damn dumb at not focusing. Oh well. Maybe Roland might be a better. Yeah, I think it is. But as you can see, or not, because the camera, yet again, is stupid. But I added some very nicely detailed on Roller, so now he doesn't look plain as hell. And yeah, now he looks like the toy. But actually being a little bit better. And now you have both the carrier and Roller attached, so now they can roll out and just prime out on a mission. Honestly, with these two connected, now the carrier looks like R2-D2 with wheels. It's just me. I don't know, it's just a little bit funny. But yeah, all in all, I really do dig this figure, but it has some issues. For example, only having 90-degree elbow is a bit bummer, and the smokestacks, yeah, kill me in Minecraft. But yeah, it kind of gets on my nerves. There could have been a better way. And of course the hips kind of have a little bit too soft pleasure. But other than that, well, I cannot say much for the face sculpt because I do like the head sculpt. I know there's a lot of people that had a little bit of a complaint with the head sculpt, but for me, I pretty much dig it. It's a really nice head sculpt for Optimus Prime, despite being a little bit wide. And of course my webcam being dumb, and I'm using a blue snowball microphone. It's gonna sound weird. Is it sounding weird? Let me know if it sounds weird. Anyone in chat? Please let me know. Does it sound weird? I see one actually watching me right now. Or if it's a glitch. It's a bit weird. But I'm just gonna place it right now and just continue watching this video until I see a response if my microphone is actually good or if it's janky. But if we'll adjust this and continue onward.
Room's care and the visual glitches
while I'm playing
have been
some
repeating
Vampire
themselves,
Mansion.
which would tie back into the tool giving us the title New Maker. Someone who's came into the New Maker plane to feed the cycle. I'm fully aware that I'm probably reading into this image way too much, and it could just be a random image to startle you or make you feel uneasy, but that was my interpretation of it. The Shadow Man then asks us, where is my house? The question is formed out of alphabet
and hello to all the
blocks,
viewers. You might wondering what the fuck is going on.
Michael controlling the pink
well,
tool, this could be another child
if you're new to this channel or pretty much subscribe, of course, like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more kind of chaotic streams or videos that I'm making. Because right now it's 10:38 p.m. here in Sweden. And I'm just gonna enjoy while pretty much while not working today at my real job. It's my kind of day off right now, so oh sweet Jeebus. Who the hell are these? Wait, let me just okay. Either way. Let me just see. Okay, oof. Thank God.
The situation. Note the green house forming in the background, the same house we saw in the image in PetScop 2. Another question is asked. Where is the school? With random props appearing and disappearing seemingly at random, we see the pet Tonith, with him slowly being surrounded in brick. This is the same building that was in the picture in PetScop 2, so we can assume that this building is now some sort of school. The final message from the figure, I will follow, and again moves the camera now back to facing the windmill, which after an hour and 24 minutes disappears. With only the foundation remaining, much like PetScop 4. As a comedic reprieve, you can clearly hear Paul getting quite annoyed that he has to sift through so much footage.
That's kind of fun, actually. Going through a 4-hour video.
Oh! That was close.
On one half,
that was real close.
The windmill's going in one direction, and in the other half, it's going in the other direction. And pinpointing where the change occurred.
Please go away.
And the fuck is this?
Paul then goes outside to find the camera now red instead of black, almost like it's been tampered with. We then see the collection of alphabet blocks the Shadow Man left behind. And to our surprise, Tonith is still here and we can actually catch them.
Oh my god.
You sneaky
Yeah, remember when this game was all about catching innocent pets? It's a stark reminder of how deep in the rabbit hole we've traveled. And even though the fanfare for collecting the pet is the same cheery and happy tone, I honestly couldn't feel more miserable knowing that the happy overworld of gift, plane, and even care couldn't be more unreachable.
Now, where is the
menu,
other
we see the description for
now?
Tonith.
Over
We
there.
expect the typical backstory, funny, quirky dialogue, but something's wrong. The description seems to be empty, nothing but a placeholder from developers. Suddenly, actual text starts appearing. A bird. I think I forgot what birds look like. Funny, stupid blob monster, says Mike. That's what it is. Painter. Painting puzzle. This could be referring to placing the faces on the canvas. Catch Randis first. Randis is the flower we caught all the way back in Petscop 1. And although Randis was with Wavy the rain cloud when we first caught him, when entering Even Care, we can see a picture of Tonith and Randis together. A story is placed into the text box explaining how a dog was hit by a car and had to be put down. It seems that anything that enters the New Maker plane becomes corrupted, as Tonith's description reads more like a child's ramblings than something a sane developer would put in. I don't think this is Randis talking, more possibly the Shadow Man that's manipulated Randis as he seemingly conjured him up out of nowhere. Paul then scrolls down to see 4 new pets. Clearly this is Care A, B, and NLM. But I'm unsure of what, if anything, the final box is meant to represent, as there's no silhouette to work with. Paul also shows a new feature, Book of Baby Names, which doesn't make much sense because we're catching pets. That's the whole idea of Petscop. Why is this tab not called Book of Pet Names? Paul returns back to Tool and asks it, "Where is my house?" in reference to the Shadow Man asking earlier, in which Tool replies, "You'll never go home." Paul asks, "Where is the school?" again in reference to the Shadow Man. Tool retorts, "You can't go back in time," almost mocking Paul for asking such stupid questions. Paul then gives us his conclusion on events.
This game is trying very hard to make it seem like there's an entity in it, like a ghost or an AI trying to communicate with me. But you know, the way you know that there's a ghost in a game trying to communicate with you is if it comes out, if it stops being distant, and it comes out and you can have a real-time back and forth with it. It's very interesting, this game, because you can walk around and something will just happen. You know? Because I created a new file, and I tried to be scientific about it.
I like how obvious I'm literally am. She cannot
the same
even
things did
dare
not
find me. I love this game.
None of the oddities occurred.
Dear God, I love
so there's
this
a bit
game.
of randomness in it, and it's interesting how it doesn't seem to really care if you see everything, I guess.
Paul is convinced the game is trying to break the fourth wall, to trick him into thinking the game is haunted, or has some sort of entity that can break the game's values, just to mess with him. Paul's clearly becoming more and more uncomfortable and trying to justify the reasoning for such a weird idea for a game, where only one level of it was actually finished, yet there's this whole underworld, the New Maker plane, that seems to have all these areas and features developed, some of them even ahead of their time. Take, for example, the elevator in Petscop 3 that could randomly generate a child's bedroom. And honestly, for the story of Petscop, that wouldn't surprise me. Repeating myself from Petscop 2, why are there gifts down here to collect? To force us to make progress. We're not going to wander around aimlessly if there's no incentive to do so, especially a world as dimly lit as the New Maker plane. These collectibles were placed at specific key points to give us the prompt to make progress. And would a developer take the time to place all of these if this part of the game was never going to be used? Was this a developer from Garalina going insane? Making a whole level he knew no one would play, programming all of these horrors in for his own amusement? Or could Paul be actually onto something? Something wants us to play this game. At this point, both Paul and we the viewer have been hooked into unraveling the events in this world. And by being fed minuscule amounts of information, our craving for answers has only gotten stronger. I think it's irrelevant at this point whether you believe in the supernatural, but one thing is very clear. Someone or something wanted Paul down here. And with this newfound theory, we end Petscop 6. Petscop 7 was uploaded the 29th of April 2017, 9 days after Petscop 6. We see Paul has returned to the quitter's room. He positions himself in the corner of the room much like a disobedient child. Again, this could be another indirect reference to Candice Newmaker, who was allegedly unruly in her new home. We can then hear Paul fumbling around in the background, possibly going through a script or a collection of notes. And suddenly, a collection of sounds are heard from the left side of the screen.
Anyway, let's watch this Petscop video while I'm pretty much hiding from Veronica.
Suddenly, the mirror copy from Petscop 2 teleports right in front of Paul, startling him as it begins to mimic his moves again. Paul looks at the backwards piece of paper again to see in bright pink, "Come here," with a zigzag above. Paul then returns to the tool, which is now again bright pink, meaning that Michael is in control. Michael says, "I love you, Newmaker. Please show Marvin where the house is." So we gather from this that the silhouetted figure is Marvin, as this same figure asked Paul, "Where is my house?" I find it quite weird to think that the pink tool, who we assume to be Michael, seems to be now giving instructions to help Marvin. If this is the same Marvin Michael referred to before, then he tried to hurt him, as stated in the previous video. Maybe the pink tool is a collection of thoughts instead of one person, or maybe Marvin is forcing whoever is in control of the tool to do their bidding. Paul hurriedly asks the pink tool his identity, but instead of getting an answer, we get more cryptic instructions. Go there and he'll follow you. His daughter is there. This is in reference to Marvin's last message to Paul. "I will follow." Probably from remembering the message in Quitter's room, Paul then finally asks, "Remember being born?" Michael replies with what appears to be maddened ramblings, not even instructions at this point. Also wants 1,000 pieces for Machine Beyond School Basement Stairway. These pieces could be inferring to the gifts that Paul has collected throughout the game. Although from what I can gather, Paul only has around 200 of these gifts. Can this amount even be reached? Does the Newmaker plane really stretch so deep that 1,000 gifts can be collected? Paul travels to the room outside the canvas and sees a small hatch. He can't climb in it or directly interact with it, so he attempts to place one of the pets inside. But with every attempt comes up with the prompt, "Child library accepts people." So here we've learned two things. Firstly, that we can actually catch the cares and place them in this hatch as they are people, and the name of this area is dubbed the Child Library. At the canvas, Paul puts in
She
Care's
runs
face,
so
but without any
fast,
eyebrows,
dear
probably
God.
in reference to the note he found before.
Like,
Your wife
sweet
says
Lord,
hair
this
isn't growing any eyebrows. The room itself doesn't seem to have any important qualities to it, but when Paul goes back to the canvas and inputs the face of Care with Michael's eyebrows, we're taken to a room with an object that Paul himself has censored out in
let's just watch
post-editing. You can clearly hear in Paul's voice he's uncomfortable with what he's discovered.
What the hell? I'm really wondering what the hell that he's just found. Like, is it a hard severed head? A Funko Pop collection? If it is that, ugh, I understand that. Fuck Funko Pops.
I can't tell. What's this here? Except it puts this. I don't know, maybe that's just something that it puts in any room.
Paul then produces a note saying we can't explain why the item has been censored, and gives possible items that could be censored in the future. Notice again the pronoun we is used, leading to believe that multiple people run the Petscop channel, not just Paul. So now we're not only questioning the game Petscop, but the YouTube channel that uploaded the videos. There seems to be a rabbit hole that's only getting deeper. And with that being said, Petscop 7 comes to a close. Petscop 8 was uploaded the 9th of May 2017 and is one of the shorter videos, clocking in at just under 4 minutes. The video begins with Paul standing by the road with what appears to be the same blue car moving down it. This is the same road Paul passed in Petscop 2. With every time Paul's standing in the road, the car suddenly stops appearing. Something of note here is Tonith's item description back in Petscop 6 told the story of a dog being hit by a car. Apart from the car itself, there is no direct correlation, but I thought it'd be something interesting to bring up. Eventually, from the dark road, a character appears. The character looks exactly like the silhouette we saw in Petscop 6.
Why are you here?
Leading me to believe that this is the Shadow Man, or Marvin, as the people referred to him as.
Please.
Much like the reflection in Quitter's room, Marvin has the same body as Paul, except instead of a crude drawing for a head, he seems to have some sort of broken texture. Not too dissimilar from the gem-like gifts that Paul collects throughout the game. Going back to the car on the road, I find it weird that Tonith's item description was talking about a car hitting a dog. As I theorized before that Tonith's item description was corrupted by Marvin, as he seems to have conjured him up in Petscop 6. Could this car be the one that hit the dog? And could Marvin be watching this car, remembering that tragic event? If that's the case, this world of the Newmaker plane seems to be a mishmash of people's thoughts and memories. Marvin then dashes away, running up to the pictures from the older Petscop videos, seemingly infatuated by them, circling around them constantly. Paul tries following him, but he flies off into the ceiling. Believing Marvin traveled up onto the Newmaker plane, Paul goes up, but finds nothing. Then we see Paul back where he originally lost contact with Marvin, and he seems to be talking to someone in particular.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not here now. There's not even a passageway or anything. Can you remember when you saw this? Well, it could have changed between then and 2004. After 2004, my mom had it reportedly. Well, okay. Thanks.
The video ends before Paul finishes his sentence. This sounded like a live conversation. We're unsure who it's with, as we never hear the other voice. But the space he gives in between leads us to believe he was conversing with someone else. But he does clearly mention his mom owning Petscop, meaning the game has been in the family for some time.
After 2004, my mom had it reportedly.
It also sounded like they were talking about a secret passage where Marvin was running into before disappearing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not here now. There's not even a passageway or anything.
This leads me to believe that there is an item, possibly another picture that Marvin was trying to reach. But because it was blocked off, Marvin's programming caused him to shift away, essentially resetting himself because he couldn't make any progress. Has the game undergone changes in geometry, or is this something as simple as a switch Paul needs to flick to open the passageway? Again, it really makes you think how much detail was put into this part of the game, this part that was never meant to be accessed. And with that new theory, Petscop 8 concludes. Petscop 9 was uploaded the 24th of May 2017. The video begins with what appears to be a demo for the game, going through Even Care, the only officially finished level of the game. The demo Paul goes on the treadmill and starts running on it, changing the numbers. He stays on the number 3 for a while. Where else has the number 3 been of importance? Well, remember when Paul was pulling the petals from that daisy in Petscop 2? He left and returned to the daisy, and there were 3 petals left. It's interesting how the overworld of Even Care is somehow interconnected with the dark underworld of Newmaker Plane. This connection will become much more apparent further on in this episode. We return back to the Newmaker Plane, and Paul shows us how he can turn his model into a silhouette, much like Marvin from Petscop 7. This correlates with the note that Paul found with his copy of Petscop. When I got to the bottom, instead of proceeding, I turned the right and became a shadow monster man. In his silhouette form, Paul can now see the windmill with the blades turning clockwise, like before Marvin interacted with it. Inside, we see a sign with a new face, a small white tool on the floor, and what appears to be a mishmash of gems and tools with a girl's head on top. Interacting with the white tool removes everything in the windmill except for the sign. And also, Paul has 50 items or gifts added to his inventory. One theory I have is that Paul collected the thing that was inside the gears. As you can see near its base, it's compromised of the same items that Paul collects. Leaving the windmill, we can now see the blades are turning anti-clockwise. Much like when the Shadow Man emerged from the windmill when we first saw him. The same dull noise now plays. Much like when we first saw the Shadow Man. So, without a doubt, I believe that we have now become the Shadow Man. Paul then returns to the child library and inputs the face he found inside the windmill onto the canvas. The easel gives him the message, "You found her. You may visit her room." Inside the room, we see the exact character Paul is playing, reading a note on the wall, but he runs out the room shortly after you enter. On the table, we see another red tool and a small windmill figure. Another thing of note, the carpet and walls are patterned with gears, possibly referring to the gears inside the windmill. Paul approaches the paper on the wall, and it goes on to say, "You must have guessed, but I was looking through your things. I found that picture of you from 1977, standing in front of that old windmill with you and your friend. You went there, and it was a bad idea. Your friend and the windmill both disappeared into thin air." Her sister was holding the camera. She took another picture. Minutes later, just you. No windmill and no friend. You married her sister, and years later, your friend was reborn as your daughter. Your wife won't admit this is true, but I know it, because I found the evidence. Your friend never returned with you, and the windmill was gone. I went to see it myself. Where is it? What did you do, Raina Newmaker? Some things to note. Firstly, the name Raina is the same person referenced in the About section of the Petscop YouTube channel. So clearly, this person Paul knows has an insert into the world of this game. Also, the term rebirthing is referenced again, going back to the story of Candice Newmaker and the rebirthing therapy. Something peculiar about Paul is how the copy in front of him leaves when he enters. Yet, if you compare the two when they stop interacting with the note and leave, they both move exactly the same. But this would indicate that the character isn't an imposter,
It's
but
gone.
is
It's gone.
Paul
You will never find it. You will never
Maybe
find
as
it.
we
You will
venture
never find
deeper
it. You will
into the
never
world,
find it. You
not
will never
only is
find
the
it.
geometry
You will
and
never
physics
find it.
becoming more
You
broken,
don't see me.
but the
You don't
actual
see this
scale of
lid.
time
Be
itself.
picking out
Either
your
that or the game plotted Paul's movements
dress.
before he made them. Both theories are ridiculous to say out loud, but Petscop isn't exactly the most logical viewing experience. Leaving the room, we see a loading screen with one of the pieces Paul can collect, the one resembling a party hat. Inside the room, it almost looks like a birthday party waiting to happen, with presents and cake. Strangely enough, the cake in the middle of the room has already had a piece taken from it, with the letter P on top of the cake. Our character's name is Paul, so is this party for us? That, or it's just the number 9 back to front. Probably that. Inside the present on the right, Paul obtains a green key that begins to float above his head. The second present has this strange red, almost pyramid-shaped object rise from it, clearly catching Paul off guard and promptly making him censor it.
What the fuck?
This was one of the items that the note said would be censored, as it is a present with a sticker on it. Paul then finds another present and seems to jump inside of it. This sends him back to the start of the Newmaker plane, only now he can leave and enter back into even care. Notice how the symbols in the background and the symbol above the door are one and the same. It's actually really weird being brought back to even care, because even though the colors are vibrant and the music is cheery, everything we've been through, this now doesn't feel right. It feels wrong, like something sinister can jump out at any point and take control of the game. Paul interacts with the signs much like he did in the first Petscop video, and this sign says, when you're choosing a pet, find one that you like. But before, in the first Petscop video, this sign clearly said, when you're choosing a pet, find somebody that you like. Clearly, we can tell something about even care has changed. It's not the same as before. I might be overreading this part, but the fact that the pets have changed from somebody to one, it's almost degrading, like they're being treated as lesser than before. I know originally I complained saying how it's weird that a pet is referred to as somebody, but the game almost trying to
Worth it.
rectify itself after we've experienced so much feels
Jesus!
nothing short of menacing. Paul then enters the room with the
2,510
treadmill, now
points.
completely empty apart from
Oh.
the treadmill itself.
I
We
hit
see
the
him
gold
run,
mine.
showing the numbers increase with
Anywho.
pink colors accompanying red. He puts
How
the number
much
on the
does
treadmill
these-
to -1, and the game freezes. We're now back inside New Maker
No,
Plane.
no, no, no.
Surely you knew we wouldn't be able to escape this place
But
for
I-
long. Paul goes inside the shed with Care
Yes.
NLM and is now able to catch her.
Yes.
But why can Paul catch Care now? What reverted her from this grotesque state back into a crying child? Well, if we refer back to the
Nice.
theory of Daisy Head Maisie and pulling flowers from the petals with "they love me" and "they love me not," this would mean that the numbers on the treadmill show the state of Care, pink being "they love me" and red being "they love me not," meaning that by putting the number onto -1, we're letting Care know they love me. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, how does that work? The daisy clearly ran out of petals and ended on "they love me not." You can't just add a petal onto a stripped flower. Well, if you go into the description of Care NLM, it states that to catch her, you had to lie. But it may not be a lie forever, meaning that we had to manipulate the treadmill to trick Care into thinking that they were loved just to catch her. Sounds morbid, but if you think about it, this is how you've caught most pets in this game. By trapping and manipulating each one of them, you've managed to add them to your inventory. Maybe, after all, you're the bad guy. Care NLM's description reads, Care NLM
Let's
escaped
see,
from the school's basement
which
and
one?
wandered the New Maker Plane for days. You're the New Maker. You can turn
Temporary
Care
install
NLM
snakes,
into
nice.
Care A and close the loop. Remember that Care A was the version that seemed the most neutral and balanced out of the three. Also note the box with a symbol on it. This is the same symbol we found in the background of the room with the treadmill on it in Even Care. This leads me to believe that these signs are placed to coordinate Paul where he is in Even Care. The New Maker Plane could be some sort of an
Belina
opposite
got
reality to
she
Even
saw it
Care.
yesterday.
Things don't appear the same in each
She
world,
got into
but they
him
link back
from
to
the
each
movie
other,
she
and
saw
one action
yesterday.
in one
Belina
world
moves
will
quite-
affect the other. Paul then returns to the child library and places Care into the hatch next to the entrance to the elevator. You've decided
Let's see
to leave
how
Care
much
NLM.
this
If you
would-
change your mind within 6 months, you can take Care NLM back. What month is it anyway? What year is it? Although he doesn't say anything, Paul seems to regret his action and tries to turn the hatch to see if Care NLM is still there. She's seemingly vanished. Going back into one of the children's rooms, we can see what appears to be Care NLM again. Paul interacts with them, catching them yet again.
Please
Even
leave.
though Paul hasn't said anything,
Please.
it's apparent he regretted his actions to give Care away. After all, he's the New Maker.
Would you move?
He's meant to
Thank you.
close the loop, not make it someone else's responsibility. And with that, Petscop 9 ends. Petscop 10 was uploaded the 31st of May 2017 and as of now is the final video in the series. We see that Paul has returned to Even Care. He still has the same ominous green key floating above his head. Paul goes to the area where we found our first pet, Amber. He proceeds to open both the cages for some unknown reason, then tries to backtrack out of Even Care. The game won't let him, however, as the door shuts right in front of him. Paul is unsuccessful in opening it. The game freezes and we're then taken back to the main menu. It seems the game has ejected Paul to the menu or he manually restarted the console. We then see Paul saves and he's filled up all 3 slots. Possibly in an attempt to explore the game to its fullest extent, as he has now gone on to say that the game acts differently with each save. Also note how the top and bottom both say Panic SV possible corruption. Panic saves usually contain diagnostic data that helps the developers figure out what went wrong during a game crash. This would make sense for Paul, except for one level, the entire game is unfinished. So these panic saves would be prevalent in a game with so much missing content.
You can't prove
Looking
me.
past
You cannot prove
Petscop,
me.
this was probably implemented as a
cannot
law-friendly
prove me
way to
anyway.
viewers like us. To explain
I'm not
how
here.
Paul's
I'm not
games
here.
are being saved, as he never explicitly shows the game being saved, and the game doesn't seem to have any sort of autosave feature that again, no PS1 game did. We now see that Paul has somehow accessed the opposite side of the quitter's room reflection. We see a block on the bed with the exact same symbol that was seen in Amber's room back in Even Care. Again,
we must stay focused, my brothers.
We must stay focused. Even Care or the new Maker plane affect the other. So Paul opening both the cell doors would have allowed him to get into the opposite side of Quitter's room. Paul then travels back to Tool and asks what month it is. A rendered calendar falls from above in front of Tool. It doesn't seem like Paul can interact with it, and then goes on to ask Tool what the year is. The Tool doesn't do anything. Paul finally asks the Tool, where is the windmill? Tool seems to answer, but Paul has censored it, suggesting another item has appeared. The video then abruptly ends. And that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed. If you expected a big climactic finale, well, fuck you!
I love how this video was pretty much...
Petscop is
at that time, it was pretty much
an alternate reality game. The game has an interactive network.
I just love how this video, how he mentioned that it's pretty much... Oh, new Russian Badger video. I will not do this man dirty and watch it now. I might watch it later, but for now, let's just see.
In a world.
Hold on. A reaction of a reaction. That's right.
What is poppin' YouTube? Welcome back. We're here with a content creator that I freaking love, and that's Maxer. I have a full playlist of me reacting to a bunch of Maxer's videos on here on the channel, and this is what in a world where I love watching content about Genshin Impact, but also
you all get to suffer with me. You all are all gonna suffer with me.
Oh my freaking god, his editing is insane.
The rat god, I'm sure he'll be cheesed to meet me.
Cheese to meet me to the rat god.
That's our kind of humor.
That is our kind of humor. So we want to check out his music for Genshin. The Hey, his original video will be linked down in the description below. So I hope you show that some love too. And he's the best friend Ant, and we gonna jump straight into things, baby. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below to feed the algorithm what? And also
Wait, listen. We can talk about this. We can talk about this. Please, no. My thing.
And that's pretty good, since my videos are attempts to make watchable anime. I can't believe it, guys.
Listen, I knew what we were getting into, right? Like, I knew.
Let's gamble.
But my brain's still overloaded.
God dang it.
It's like watching an energy drink.
Woo!
Actually, just watching an energy drink.
Yeah. Oh my god, but I am so
gambling.
I'm glad he mentioned it. It feels like Stockholm syndrome. Like, I literally took a break from Genji because I realized how addicted I was getting to the game. And then I came back to the game and I instantly wanted to start gamble this again. And I was like, oh god, it's got its grippers in me.
I don't play this game because I don't like gambling.
We gonna just flat out lie? On the internet?
Yes.
That's crazy. You gamble more than I do. Oh,
I'm not sure. You know what?
You're proud of me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're proud.
Okay, time you lost.
Watch me get it free.
That wasn't what that
Wow,
was.
I'm starting real hard.
That doesn't count.
Okay,
Watch me get
sorry.
free Valinas next.
Can we talk about
It will never happen.
times you go to Reno and you used to lose money there? Gambling and slots?
That's a multiple occasions. That's not one.
That doesn't make the conversation better. That's not how conversations work.
Come on, Valina.
3 gambles. That is you're
Free Valinas. Give me the jackpot.
Okay.
Checkmate.
Give me the jackpot.
Alright, you know what? I was gonna say fair enough, but no, not fair. Fuck you.
Come on.
Oh.
What happens if I get 3 pearls? That's the main question.
Oh my god! Sorry, I paused and I was like, wait, what's the punchline here? But in the accuracy, that's actually really true because Genshin, when it first released, was actually referred to a lot by the community, the gacha community, as like baby's first gacha game because like it really
Come on.
makes you feel like it's not one, and then you get your money sucked into it, and then you're surprised. I said thousands of dollars.
Please give me the jackpot.
Tens of thousands. 20 of thousands.
Yikes.
Nah, I win. I win. Watch this. Oh. Nah, I'd win. Nah, I'd win.
Yo, it's kind of sick. Wait.
This was hard. Holy hell.
I'd watch this show.
Come on. Give me the jackpot.
I would watch.
Oh, dang it.
Dude, I would watch a full ass. What?
Gamblers in real life be like,
If that was an AMV, I would.
nah, I win.
That shit. That was so good.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
That was so good. God, his editing is fantastic.
Wow, I haven't been here in 2 years. Welcome back to Mondstadt. And yes, the game still displays
You like your new dress? Yeah, you do.
too critical. This place is where the player learns how to
Anyway, I think I'm just gonna
learns that they are bisexual as soon as they see Kaya. So I think
quit for now. But yeah.
nothing else. The environment here looks like it shares a polygon. I think a good place to start is
You said, oh
Anywho.
God, when seeing Eula? Hmm.
Oh, no, I was saying, oh god, because my brain was starting to melt.
Oh, okay. I was
If I say something, I gotta pause and let my brain catch back up.
with our team. The Fulganasaria. Visual. Every crew got the schizophrenic, personality disorder, mentally and physically deranged, wife material.
Damn.
I'm serious about that. There's a quest where you enter her mind.
Well, that's
and
you.
she finds her tulpa. And
What's up?
What?
Oof.
Mentally deranged. What? Huh?
Oh, it's you. Don't worry, Aunt. This is your self-insert.
That's the, what a weird insert. I'm not wife material.
You know what? That was
I ain't the one engaged. I ain't the one engaged.
Wait, you calling me crazy, bitch?
Yes.
user license agreement. Literally the only place
Actually, not
racist.
stuttered.
Racist.
I might have stuttered. I have a stutter problem sometimes.
So fun fact about Eula, the possibly racist part is because
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
her lore is that her family itself, like her aristocracy, the aristocrats, and her family actually own slaves and shit.
Boom.
But she like defected from her family, so she's actually not like that. But her family has done terrible shit, so people were really angry.
Oh,
Yeah,
look
get
at
a
that.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Which is a real thing. And
Look at that. Oh, look at that. Pieces of glory.
This is why I don't like China.
No, Jesus, relax.
Sole reason.
Relax.
Sole reason. Sole reason.
Anywho.
Yeah, I'm coming at you, China. I want to see bits.
I'm so scared. Oh no.
And Rosaria, who is dressed promiscuously, so we need to cover her.
Anywho, let me just
With our team assembled, we are now able to do nothing because I haven't explained.
Should we tell them the nuns are real?
let me just lower the volume so I can pretty much describe the figures I have in my collection. Or rather the Transformers, because I'm not gonna do a review of them, because let's be real, how many are gonna watch my reviews anyway? So let's just summarize all the figures I have in general, because everyone has already done reviews, right? Let's do it. So,
Okay,
of
so
course,
this
here we
is
have Spike
actually
with Wiki.
super
You're probably wondering, why do I have this figure?
And
That's a good question.
yeah, my Abyss
I have no
was
idea.
just like this,
But I
and
do. It is pretty much want to have a
started to
companion
have
for
problems.
Bumblebee since he did appear in the
Yeah,
1986
so that was
movie.
the time
So
we recorded,
hey, why not
and
have a
Ashley
little
started
spike that
pixelating super hard, and I'm like,
costs
I'm
way too
recording,
much
why
than
is
he's
this
supposed to
streaming?
be?
What?
But yeah, I feel like $8 would be enough. But other than the pricing, yeah, this figure is pretty damn sweet for how much he's supposed to be. But yeah, this actually is a very solid, semi-decent spike with articulation, at least better than the Kingdom one or Buzzworthy Bumblebee one, which is just a piece of junk. But this one has some alright articulation. I mean, it has some hinges and swivels, but then again, the suit itself is, well, it's pretty much how limited it is, and no pivot. But again, it's a core class. What do you expect?
Descriptions are just too damn long for items or weapons.
Then we get to the big meanie himself, or the character himself from, well, Beast Wars Neo, Magmatron, which I was supposed to make a review of this guy. Send. Okay, let me just take this and boom. I was supposed to maybe move the flowers a little bit. I was supposed to make a oh yeah, size comparison. Yeah, this is a commander class. But yeah, what's supposed to be a commander class? Yeah, this figure is from the show Beast Wars Neo, and he's a really awesome looking figure, but he do have some flaws. For example, there are some parts that needed a little bit more ratchet, such as the hips or the thighs here, because it just moves up, but no ratchet at all. It's just friction. It could have been a little bit more. And there's some parts that you do need to untap, such as the feet, like here, so you can have more movement. Then there's the arms and the panels. There's some parts that locks into place, and there's some that kind of need to have a little bit more securance, and due to some QC issues, it kind of prevents it. But for a character that has 3 prehistoric reptiles combined into one, and yes, I do say 3 reptiles because not all these creatures are dinosaurs. Only one of them is a dinosaur. The rest is just other kind of cousins or just named source. Keep in mind, just because someone has the name Saurus in the end, or Saur, doesn't automatically mean dinosaur. It's just a Greek word for lizard or reptile. But again, we have one that's a pterosaur that honestly is just Quetzalcoatlus that's trying to be Rodan. And then we have honestly my best kind of modes of, well, reptiles so far, the plesiosaur, which is just an Elasmosaurus. It's pretty damn stellar, and yeah, I do really love that figure, and I do love the set. But yeah, if I can find like $80 or $70, that would be much more worth it. But higher than that, no, absolutely not. Especially when I also consider other figures that I have in my collection, such as Vector Prime, which is just a retool and a repaint of G-Axis. And it shows, because many pretty much criticize this figure for being lazy. And yeah, I do not blame these people. If the one guy is just a retool of another guy, you know you did something wrong. But what I do love is that you get the CyberKnight key that he comes with. And as for the other primes that's gonna come out in the Age of the Primes, it's questionable. I might get them, but at the same time, might sell them all in the end run, so who knows. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of resell the collection just for the budget. And why I'm saying that is because, well, my mom do need to have a, well, here's also the thing why I also mentioned, well, selling some figures out, because my mom had pretty much has no microwave whatsoever. The microwave that we have is pretty much broken, and the only way to get her a microwave is a microwave that a microwave oven that costs like $600, and she doesn't have the money nor have any other payment options to even get that microwave, and she is a little bit bummed about it. And I'm trying my best to, well, get her that microwave as soon as possible. Because, hey, why not? But other than that kind of mumbo jumbo, what do I feel about this Prime? Well, Vector Prime. Well, let's just say, for something that looks like him, it's pretty neat, but as a figure of him, yeah, it kind of needs to go back in the oven because, dear God, he kind of needs to do some redo over. Poor guy. Looking like something else that he's not supposed to look like. Just a guy that is just a retool of a Yax's figure that is heavily flawed and kind of yellows. Yeah, that's something that's a bit yikes. Okay, let's move on and let's take a look at another figure that I want to show off, which is oh yeah, a guy I tried to do a review but have no words to describe it. But yeah, Origins Bumblebee. Let's just say I do love this little guy. I mean, it's just Bumblebee, but actually with, well, some actually G1 proportions, or G1 controlled proportions, with some kibble indicating that he transforms into a spaceship or hovercraft. You know the one. They're from episode 1 in season 1 in generation 1 of Transformers. And the fact that this actually is a Legacy United just makes a mockery of the people who owns the buzzworthy Bumblebee, because, yeah, and honestly, if you have known the news, oh no, he's fallen. Anyway, if you know the news, there is going to be a free pack of the Origins cast that is going to be a Takara release that is pretty much available at Totally Japan to pre-order. And the fact that that exists makes me want to sell this one off. And if anyone who is a Swedish viewer and want yourself a Origins Bumblebee, hit me up because I'm actually selling this guy on Marketplace. Just letting you know. But if I wanted to make a review, it's going to be simple. All I'm saying is that this actually is a pretty stellar figure. Honestly, would have gotten it if I'd known the latest news about Takara Tomy actually releasing a free pack to have all the casts and also have all 6 rods, which even just takes a punch in the collector's face for even having this guy. But yeah, for all in all, this guy is pretty damn stellar. Could have been better, but as its own. And of course, the clear plastic, which didn't really need to have a clear plastic window. That just shows off nothing. And it also kind of feels unsettling when you're trying to transform it. You know the one when you're trying to yeah, it could have been just pure, opaque plastic and not just clear one, because that's just stupid. There's that. Now let's get to Perceptor, which, dear God, it actually is pretty dang good, and I do miss having this guy in my collection again. He's a really stellar figure. All in all, it could have been a little bit, well, could have engineered a little bit better and could have tightened up some QC issues, or QC on the legs. But other than that, this figure is pretty stellar. Even though the back is a bit empty and hollow. And the reason I also aren't talking about the articulation is because many have already talked about articulation. It's just, well, nothing to point out at this point. I mean, what do you want to know about the guy that you already haven't been said and done? I mean, he poses pretty damn stellar. He has pivots, which moves pretty well. The articulation, and he has ratchet joints on his microscope. Honestly, quite satisfying. And he also transforms into, well, you know what he transforms into. So there is no need to describe it. Hold on, let me just search up because I'm from Sweden and we don't know the name. Let's just see. Yeah, a microscope. Pretty much a microscope. Why am I even questioning things? And my voice is dying. Help me. Anywho, speaking from one Bombay to another, we already talked about this little guy. You know the one from Studio Series 86. Yeah, this little stellar Bombay is pretty damn good. And honestly, probably my favorite Bombay is that I forgot him. Because not only does he have wrist folds and is a compact and easy, but very enjoyable transformation, but the way you get into poses and the way you have weapons and the proportions, it actually fit this character. And also is a miniature masterpiece. No pun intended. And he does deserve that title. And while we're talking about Bumblebee, let me just go and transform Brawn here, which is just a 2-pack of the Brawn and Ratchet. And we know about the 2-packs of those guys. It's like, I mean, I do like the battle damage, but at the same time, could have been giving us a little bit more than just screaming expressions. I mean, couldn't there be a way to giving us, well, neutral and pain face? But of course, he has to do. But of course, Hasbro wants us to have this feature of them being blown up, which could have gone a better way. But other than that, yeah, I really do like this figure. But that does not mean that it does not have some flaws. For example, this articulation of Brawn has a hip or knee joint that pretty much rivals drag strip. Below 90-degree bend at the knees, which is, I mean, it could have been better. Like, I must admit that, and must address, it could have been better. Not the worst, but it could have been better. And here we have Wreck and Go, I think. Either way, here we have a go back design that's pretty much what's this guy's name? It was not Trailbreaker, no. Hoist. Yeah, it's pretty much a red color scheme Hoist. Which, for this guy, I know there's a lot of complaint about the hollowness, which, yeah, it is bothering me too. But other than that, it's a pretty damn still a figure. I mean, I do really love the look of this guy, but the articulation, I mean, you can pretty much sheath it, of course. So, if you do not like this look, you can pretty much rotate this panel right here and give him that movement instead. That works. Move on, decide that much. Yeah, you know, something to give it a little bit more look. But of course, considering the hollowness, he has more knee joint. And for the transformation, yeah, he is a very solid poser. Let's just say that. And then let's get to a figure that I literally bought on Marketplace, which is, well, you know the one, the Earthrise Wheeljack, which I had the Legacy United Arbustan United 5-pack, which honestly I think it's a better Wheeljack than this one, but I do love this no white and the creamy vanilla white Wheeljack. No, doesn't matter which one, but yeah, I kind of sort of agree with perspective and that it kind of looks a bit dirty in some places. I mean, on this camera it kind of looks fine, but in person it does look like it's been contained by cigarette smoke. You know, been on sunlight too long, and it kind of feels greasy when you look at it. But other than that, I do like the design and love this figure, sort of. But I do think the United version is a little bit better. You know, the Legacy United version is a little bit better because you don't have the clear plastic intervene with the articulation or the transformation, and it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. It's just a cartoony appearance Wheeljack of the Earthrise mold that actually is a bit more solid than this one, but other than that, yeah, I think this one with the upgrade kits, yeah, this is Wheeljack, and I really do love it. Might upgrade the windshield, and it might be the best Wheeljack I have until I get the inevitable, well, some third-party Wheeljack. Anyway, let's talk about one guy that I always wanted, which is Rhinox. You know the one that appeared in Rise of the Beast that did absolutely nothing, and just proves my point why we even had the human characters when they could have just developed the Beast War, the Maximal casts, because dear God, they were poorly, and I do mean poorly executed. They were not done justice. It was just they only did this for, well, nostalgia bait, and that's it. And I don't think it's a good nostalgia bait. I mean, sure, it does look cool in some scenes, but that's only about it, because it only makes it only kind of appeal for general audience such as the Beast Wars, well, those who grew up with Beast Wars and someone who actually knows about Beast Wars. But for other kind of normies in the mainstream who does not even know what Beast Wars are, yeah, they will just question these characters, and I do not blame those people, because Hasbro is a bunch of hack who's just creatively bankrupt. And yeah, the design for that film did not do Rhinox justice. I mean, it was questionable, and of course, the fact that they have animal designs, which only makes sense in Beast Wars in the show, because they only use the animals to disguise themselves just to pretty much protect themselves from the energon exposure. Other than that, I mean, watch this show. It actually is available on YouTube, but you can watch it in Hasbro's playlist. And you also notice right now in this webcam that I can pretty much customize him to look exactly like, or sort of, exactly like the one from Beast Wars. You know, give him the two accurate color schemes, and I think I did a pretty damn stellar job. I mean, I'd used some Gundam markers for the green here, but yeah, I think it actually just pops a little bit more better. And also, if this actually had these color schemes, I will be be a little bit more forgiving about the show and the quality, but yeah, the film itself is shit. But you know what's not shit? This figure. And the weapons. God, I love the weapons. Alright, let's move on. Just give me a sec. I'm just gonna grab more figures to review. Let's bring out the rest of the cast. Why not? Bring them all here. Right now, I do not give a damn. Anyway, let's go and move on to another figure that is very sort of underrated, but understandable why it's not been bought in so many places, which is Studio Series 86 RC, which is a side grade to the Generations RC that is available, with some key elements of the Earthrise / Kingdom RC. And yeah, it was understandably why it was universally not that. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, good. Whew. My second monitor just shut off. It scared me. Anyway, it's understandable why it was not well received, because would you not monitor, please? There we go. Let's just say that it was not received well because, well, what's so special about this figure? I mean, this already exists multiple times, and the fact that they only pretty much just released something that already exists just to give us the G1 treatment, yeah, it kind of understandable, and just puts to show it's not because it's a female, well, a girl figure, and that nobody's buying it. It's that it's a character that is not that interesting, and that sometimes female figures doesn't really sell well because what's there to even care? What I'm trying to say is, it's not that the character itself is bad. It's that not a lot of people even have that too much attachment to the character, or there are not a lot of people are interested in that kind of figure. And for this one actually makes a lot of sense, because what's there to say about this figure? I mean, it's just a Generations kind of side grade of a Generations figure that already exists with less accessories, and just actually very neatly designed. But there's already a figure that already exists a long time ago, and now it also, let's just say, has some issues. Alright, speaking of issues, what the flips is wrong with my monitor? Like, are you serious right now? Do you have a problem, my hello friend? Stop it. Get some help. Alright. Are you stop going to buffer? Good. Other than that, RC, pretty decent and pretty good figure, but understandable why not a lot of people are interested in this figure. Because why should we? Because it's not that interesting. Okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Alright, there we go. Whew, sorry about that. Just had to fix a kind of technical difficulties. My monitor is seemingly trying to make itself look like a dumbass. But for now, let's just talk about another figure that I have bought, that I purchased, which is the Gamer Edition. Yeah, it's the Gamer Edition Studio Series Optimus Prime from the High Moon War for Cybertron game. He's an alright fella. The only reason I say it's alright is because, well, hold on, just hold my fuck knife. Let me do this. Sweet Jesus. Oh, I can't find. Great. Well, to put it simply, it has a feature that on paper works pretty damn fine, but oh, there it is. Great. Now it looks like an idiot. I mean, it works pretty fine, but when you take a closer look at it, it does look pretty ridiculous. And I do wish there was some kind of port where you can attach it on the fists, you know, so you can hold it. But yeah, it's just dumb. But I do love the axe. That's pretty cool. And the articulation is pretty damn sweet. But I would lie if I say I didn't want to have the original kind of figure that came a long time ago. You know, the one back in 2010. I mean, that one still slaps to this day. And this one, pretty good, but it still has some hollowness and kind of issues. I mean, just... yeah. Bend over and take it all in. That's pretty much how I feel about this figure. Just bend over and take it all in. Ooh, here's a figure that pretty much is something that's Higher Toys pretty much doing with their Godzilla, which is Sideswipe. Yeah. They evolved for Cybertron Siege mold into the Kingdom mold. And yeah, I do love this. I really do like this figure. I mean, I do get why people are tired of it, but it is a stellar mode. It is a pretty solid one. Just like Godzilla, I mean, people do get tired of it, but it is still a stellar mold that actually is pretty damn good. Nothing is wrong to say about this guy, because he's still solid, he still works, and the end result is still very solid. And you get accessories that fit this guy. And he looks pretty damn good. Or is it this way? I don't know. Here we go. And let's just put it on the other side and just call it a day. Boom. There you go. And considering this is a 2-pack with Skywarp. Yeah. This guy from the Beast Wars 2. From the anime series. And yeah, it is just the Air Racer mold, but as an eagle. And it is a pretty damn stellar figure. And considering I have 2 of them, don't ask why. Actually, I do want to say why, because I actually owned the set before, but I had to sell it off because of an emergency, and yeah, the rest is history. But it is still in a good mold. Alright, Beachcomber. Yeah, what to say about this one? Well, let's just say this figure is, well, quite interesting, because it's not that it's simple, or complicated. It has some very interesting moves, but it's just that it is simple, but kind of a painfully way, because it's just, let's just say it's too simple. And then you also get a parakeet guy, fella, which I kind of have no idea why it went, but yeah, Beachcomber. It's simple, but enjoyable. I mean, we do love some enjoyable, simple transformations, but this is a little bit painfully simple. And I do wish the heels have tapped in a little bit, and that, yeah, a little bit better range with the elbows, because that's how much he moves out. But yeah, Beachcomber is just a very stellar guy. Just want to enjoy nature for what it is. Alright, what to say more? Alright, Gears. What to say about the grumpy fella? And considering this is a character that is a grumpy, and you know me, I do love me some grumpy characters. I mean, I did grow up with Snow White and the Bumpy Bears. Is it called Bumpy Bears? please tell me it's Gummy Bears. Yeah. Gummy Bears. Ah, Adventure of the Gummy Bears. That's right. Well, here in Sweden, we call them Bumbibjörnarna. Still remember the theme song. Hip hurra, här kommer Bumbibjörnarna. Och vi får följa med. Och vi får följa med. Ah, I do love that theme song. And yes, I'm one of those characters that actually did grow up in those old-timey, well, early days of Disney when it actually was good. And not just corrupted corporations bullshit. But yeah, Gears, very solid. Actually has some very nice features. And I did a review of this fella, and I do recommend that you pick this one up if it's on good sale. Not over $30 or over 40. Buy it for less than that, less than 30, like around 20 or below that. That I'd recommend. But for the price it is, no. Just wait until it goes on clearance. That's how I should pretty much describe it. Oh yeah, let's talk about something that I also want to talk about, which is Elite 1, which I was happy to have, and then we have Cyberverse Universe Chromia. I mean, let's just say that I do really enjoy Elite 1, even though she's pretty much a sharing the ingenuity and kind of look with Minerva, which was also a figure I did own before, and it was pretty solid, and it all was pretty cool. And of course, I did have to modify her backpack so she can pretty much do. Hold on. So she has no backpack. And honestly, I might pretty much display her like this in the future, or pretty much did, because I do love me a female character that does not have too much. Same with the guys. But here we have something that is a figure that many enjoy. But I do or say it's the best. I will say it's really good. But Cyberverse Chrome, like, this is, I would pretty much disagree with people who pretty much say that this should have been the Primal C mold, because this should have been the Primal C mold. And the fact that this is supposed to be the Cyberverse universe, I mean, first of all, when we take a compare with the Cyberverse design, the proportions is off. It pretty much looks like the Primal C, but with a little bit more detail. I mean, if we were to take a look at the Primal Universe RC, that one, I mean, let's just, hold on, let me just give us a comparison. Cyberverse no. Hold on. Oops. If we can take a comparison between these two right now, you will know that this one looks nothing like that design. I mean, sure, there's the overall knees and somewhat of the thighs, I guess, but the rest, no. I mean, if I gotta be honest, that design could have fit better with the Prime Universe RC mold on that figure. But the most shockingly of all the figures they could have used, the most they could have used, why not use the series Bumblebee RC, since she also has some key differences and actually designs that actually describes a little bit better on that one. Case in point, if we take a look at Studio Series Bumblebee RC, let's just say oops, hold on. All right, let's go and debate. I mean, if we take a look on these two, I mean, if we take a look at this, why couldn't this figure been a retool of this one? I mean, if you could have just made a little bit of changes here and there, and maybe add a little bit more retooling of this, and maybe given a little bit more of the wheels here, and of course the backpack kind of switched a little bit backwards. I mean, we already have the wheels here, and then just retool a little bit with the legs, and then boom, and of course give us the proper Chromia head, and you pretty much be gold. Because I'm gonna be honest right now, and this is gonna be fucking pissing me off right now, because I am going to be 100% clear with all of you people right here, because I am sure, not joking, when I say is that of all the things they pretty much did, I absolutely despised what they did with my girl Chromia's face. What do I mean by that? I mean, sorry. If we can take a look at the design right here, right now, you can see that she has lips, or lipsticks. And before you say, well, what is the point? Well, here's the thing. G1 Chromia, she has lips. She has lipsticks. And there is nothing you can say about, well, it's just a toy, well, it doesn't matter. Well, here's the thing. Just like how Megatron is not a Megatron with either fusion cannon, or how Optimus Prime is nothing without the Matrix relationship, or how if there's a Starship without the bitch face. If there's a female character that is pretty much known for having lipsticks in their design, and it's not just G1, but also on Cyberverse that is pretty much known for having lipsticks, why did they decide to leave this one without? And let me just say, instead of giving us proper lipsticks, they have the audacity to give us the godforsaken puppet mouth. I fucking despise this. Absolutely fucking despise this. It looks less like Chromia, more like a kind of a Chromia trying to cosplay as the Heath Ledger's Joker. It's like, instead of the take over the Ironhide, it's like, you wanna know how I got these scars? I fucking despise this fucking abomination of face sculpt. It's a pun. It is just a crime against humanity. Holy shit. Get this godforsaken screen out of my face. I do not want to see it. Let me just replace this with the video, because oh my god, I absolutely fucking hate how they made her face sculpt looking like that. It could have been perfect if they didn't fuck it up. But of course, like any guy that can customize, I pretty much customize her face to look a little bit more like her G1 design. Case in point, I give her a little bit of a proper lipsticks, and pretty much cover the seams with if you can see properly. Come on, show me, show me, show me. But there we go. You can see I pretty much covered the seams with some Milltop. I pretty much covered it with a little bit of milliput. Yeah, milliput. Kind of clay, modeling clay thing where you can pretty much use it for creativity or figures. And I pretty much did that, just applied a little bit there and just painted it with silver and gave her lips, well, lipsticks, as she should have. And also gave her pretty much gave her Elite 1's guns. And now she's complete. Because of all the things of accessories they gave us, they had to give us prowess weapons, which honestly did not fit this mold at all. Well, did not fit this character whatsoever, because I do not remember her even using goddamn throwing stars. And you cannot convince me otherwise, because why the hell? I just don't see this mold as that Cyberverse design whatsoever. It's not. It's just, you cannot convince me. And if you're one of those people that try to convince me, you're wrong. It's like, no. 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 It's just not. Anyway, I'm just gonna place you here. And just move on to the rest of the crew, which I have. I mean, we already talked about the old fella right here, which is Alpha Triumph, which for something that is from a Prime Changer line, it is a really decent figure, not gonna lie. Of course, the film bombed because of poor, promotion, such as the trailers, which was ass, and the figures, not doing the film justice as well. But the film itself is pretty good. But I did predict that it was going to be just, kind of predictable at least. And that the fact that it's a origin story does not help it at all. Because I think that people are just sick and tired of origin stories from here on out on Hollywood's case. Because not a lot of stories needs to have origin stories. Like, sure, there's gonna be origin stories here and there, but not everything needs to have an origin story. I mean, we already had an origin story in G1, which was pretty much described in a flashback and in one episode. And the aerial bots pretty much went back in time when they literally helped out Orion Pax and Ariel, which I pretty much question why in the film, in Transformers 1, why didn't they call Elita 1 Ariel? Because that's what she was called before she became Elita 1. That's just pretty much really confusing. I mean, B127, D16, Orion Pax, and then Elita 1 is just Elita 1. Really? It's just confusing. But that's just me. But other than that, yeah, Orion Alpha Triumph is pretty damn stealth figure, even though he did not show up that much. And that this is pretty much before he was pretty much wrecked by, and pretty much was before he was deactivated. Other than that, that's the figure itself. Pretty stellar, could have been better, but for something that is supposed to be for kids, I say that because for something that was priced a lot, especially when I went in Amazon, jeez, then later on they went for $30 for this, which is no. don't buy it for 30. Buy for like less. Anywho, let's just continue onward before I lose my voice for rambling too much. Because I just want to be done reviewing these Transformers, well, these Chug Transformers figures. Because there's not a lot to talk about these Chug stuff. Unless you want me to do a kind of a proper review of these guys, which I might do in the future. But for now, I'm just gonna showcase you all, every single one, right here, right now, before I shut this stream off, because I do need to have some sleep. Because I need to go to work tomorrow. Alright? Alright. Next ones in the list. We have our boys Ratchet and Ironhide, which are the battle damage versions that was in the 2-pack with Prowl and Brawn. And let me just say, yeah, with painted kind of windows and plastic, and not just clear plastic, ruined this really stellar modes. Yeah, I really do love them. And I did 3D print some covers to cover up their cracked windshields, because this is literally done when they got shot by Starscream with Megatron Scott when Megatron was in his gun mode. So yeah, the fact that they actually had the audacity to release these, just firstly with clear plastic being painted over, and then just, oh, here's them being opaque plastic while they are in corpses. It's like, they have the audacity. I mean, considering their expressions, they screams in agony, like, dear God. But yeah, I do really like them. And of course, they didn't use the cross because, well, copyright, and Hasbro didn't want to be sued. Funny jokes on them. Their stock is pretty much down. Haha. Okay, now I'm just being mean at this point. Oh boy. Okay, what's next? Stunticon's YouTube designs. Why did I even buy it? Well, I just wanted to buy them just to see how they pretty much turned out, and oh boy, yeah, they have some issues. Big issues. Issues that really makes me want to sell all my Transformers off right now, because oh boy, yeah, I think I'm pretty much decided to sell all my main 9 Transformers now, just to have some masterpiece, because dear God, are these just why? Just why? Did you really have to fuck it up with these guys? Like, I mean, oof. I mean, Dead End looks, honestly, in G2 colors, actually more forgivable, because it is G2 Dead End, which I only have attachment for the G1 design, but yeah, with the G2 color scheme, yeah, he kind of pops. Real good. Real good. But then we come to Breakdown, which, yeah, this almost doesn't scream Countach. Because of, well, you guessed it, Hasbro and corporations being just bunch of being morons, just not letting the designers do their job, because, I mean, giving it to the fans? No way. We don't like the paying customers. We hate the fans. I'm just impersonating the Hasbro team, because that's the truth. Because these corporations and Hasbro in general, they do not like the fans. The only thing they like is money, and that's it. And if they say they actually give a crap about the fans, they don't. They don't give a damn about us. Matter of fact, they should pretty much hate us. They love and hate us, pretty much. They love us because they want us to buy their money, and they hate us because, well, for other reasons, because we pretty much complain, even though it's valid criticisms, to make them do better. And yep, that's breakdown. Why did they even bother with this feature? Yeah, this is just, ooh, they proved us very right that, yeah, oof, ugh. Yep, that's breakdown. Anywho, before I end the stream and show, oh yeah, that's right, Proud. What do I talk about Proud right now? Because, this is an Earthrise figure that is in Studio Series. So, regular Studio Series release of Prowl. When, Hasbro? Because other than some issues with some joints, the figure itself is quite solid. I mean, without the clear plastic, this figure is actually pretty damn, well, the bomb. Like, dear God. I mean, the quality and the holiness could have been improved, but other than that, yeah, this figure is pretty damn stellar. Let me tell you that, other than the scream of agony. I mean, he did get shot, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's all I had to say about it. I mean, it's pretty damn cool that we have a figure of Prowl. But of course, considering the QC issues and all that sort of stuff, makes me kind of relieved that I'm kind of, well, now deciding to get... Yep, I feel like this is my level of pretty much being complete with these figures. Hold on, let me just align this properly so I can end this video nice and easily before I have a temper. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yay! Yeah, I think I'm pretty much planning to sell these guys off just to get the third-party stuff. I mean, here in Sweden, it's pretty damn... We don't have that problem with US right now, but... Yeah, this figure is pretty damn stellar. But yeah, I'm not gonna deny if I say I want the regular release because... Or the third-party release, because I do. But because I do have my replacement of collecting Hasbro stuff, and that is with the Marvel Legends figures, at least when it comes to Marvel comics. Oops. I mean, for example, Ultron and Gore, the God Butcher, the comic version, not the live action one. Fuck that live action one. Yeah, this actually is fucking sweet, and I think this is the replacement of, well, me collecting Hasbro stuff, because, yeah, other than the Transformers stuff, I think they did a pretty damn good job with, well, Gore and, well, Ultron, and even She-Hulk, the comic version, the sensational She-Hulk. Damn, that is She-Hulk. Let me just show you. This figure. Yep. That is She-Hulk. This is She-Hulk. Not the MCU bullcrap they're trying to be. At least I have, well, pretty much have blah 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 blah, trying to be, well, controlling my anger better than you, bullcrap. I mean, what the fuck are the writers smoking? And the fact that they admitting that they did not read the comics just indicates that everything wrong with Hollywood in general. But yeah, this is actually pretty damn stellar. And even a Mega Man from Jada. Huh, I must say, I feel like in the future I might collect more of these kind of humanoid stuff. And in the future might only collect third-party Transformers than mainline, because now, yeah, I think mainline is starting to lose my grip, or lose my interest. Because, dear God, while I do love collecting mainline, they do show some issues. I mean, the only one that is kind of the top would be Optimus Prime, but yeah, other than that, I think I'm pretty much done with collecting mainline Transformers. I mean, think I'm pretty much complete. And if anyone is a Swedish viewer and are interested in Transformers or want Transformers in their collection, I do have a marketplace that I'm selling Transformers stuff, and if you want these guys, just let me know. Pretty much let me know in the marketplace, and yeah, actually do sell them in a reasonable price. So yeah, it does sound a little bit sad, but in the end of the day, I feel like I'm pretty much satisfied right now. The fact that I have all these guys, I feel like I'm pretty much finally free from Hasbro's greedy grip from Transformers stuff. I mean, let me just explain you in the correct way. There's only good Hasbro products that is not just Transformers, because there are some good Transformers stuff, but for now, I feel like the Marvel Legends stuff do also have my interest, because they have the Marvel characters in the comics version, while the G1 stuff, or G1 Transformers and Beast Wars, I mean, there are third and fourth party companies that are doing exactly that. So in the future, if you see me with these collections in a different point of view, and or different characters in a different look, just third party or something like that, just know that these mainline ones are probably sold off. It's sad, but it's true. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you all so much for this stream. I might stop recording right now because I am losing my fucking voice. Oh, before I leave, let's talk about two Unicron Trilogy figures. Armada Megatron and Cybertron Starscream. I might keep these two. I don't know. But I think I'm keeping Starscream for now, because he actually does fit into this collection, and even this one too. And even some characters that I have might be still here, but the rest might be sold off. Well, some of my collections at least, but yeah, it's pretty much unknown for now. But yeah, that just know that there's some collections that's gonna stay, and there's some that are gonna leave, either temporarily or permanent. Anyway, that's all. Thank you all so much, and only time will tell what I'm about to do next. And until then, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Join my membership if you want some of my perks, like some of the emotes, because I do want to make some custom emotes just for the fun of it. And I'll see you all next time.